me to kind of go through or anything like that?
Yeah, it's whatever you want. Generally, I just wherever the conversation goes. I mean, I would like to stick with kind of the Web3 metaverse NFTs, but if you have like a cool story about like a ghost you saw while driving through Ohio or something, like by all means, we go through it. Where are you from,
Yeah,
by the way?
awesome. I'm in Australia.
What time is it over there right now?
It's like 9 a.m., 8 a.m.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
okay, all
early.
right,
Yeah, yeah.
cool. All right,
But you
this
guys
is
are
not like 1 in
nighttime
the
there.
morning.
No,
Hmm?
no, 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 no. The time differences does suck from here though, because every time I have meetings with people overseas, especially in America, my
Uh,
meetings here are like in the most weird time. So this is a good time.
yeah, I got a couple people that that are in Australia or in like Europe, but they keep American time. Like they keep like New York time, which
Ah,
I should be taking advantage of, but I don't. I have this weird thing where I'll stay up till like 5 in the morning and then I'll go to
oh,
bed
really?
and I'll wake.
Yeah.
So this morning I woke up at like 1 p.m.
Hmm.
and I missed like everything. Like, staking went live and just I was like, oh my
Yeah,
God,
I saw
like
that.
30 messages.
Yeah, I saw that. So you missed. I didn't even know that was happening because I've been watching your stuff because I've been in VV as well early, like Feb last year. I think it was one of the first 10,000, 15,000 users back then, and there was like no content creators. There was like Bud Thompson was the only one back then, and I think you guys popped up, and then NFT Pirates, and then now there's a few more content creators. But back then it was like I was at when you were on board with VV as well. There was only like Batman season one. There was like um, Powerpuff Girls and maybe Ghostbusters had just come out, and I think I tried the um, Nightwing drop, and that was kind of the first thing when I was testing out the app. But yeah, this and now it's blown up like crazy. Like now the community is so big.
Yeah, it's insane. The idea behind so like Dino Lang and like Rob Stuff and VV Vibes, they call themselves like the Silver Age VV YouTubers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and because they came in like right after. When
yeah.
did you start making content?
I only started November, December last year, but I was very like I was heavy into the NFT space. Like I was like 12 hours a day, pretty much from the
Oh,
beginning because I just got obsessed. Like I
whoa.
loved it. Yeah, so I was just consuming content, reading as much as I can on VB, but also OpenSea. I do both. I wanted to specialize in both because I realized OpenSea people kind of stuck to OpenSea, VB people kind of stuck to VB, but I
Yeah.
wanted to be like one of the first people to be at least understand most of both of what's going on. But I was doing VB drops every single week for at least up until December last year. So for pretty much all of last year, I was doing every single drop, which is hard over here because it's like 2 a.m. in the morning
Yeah,
for most of the drops. But
yeah, that's
I
a good
was
point.
obsessed, and I still am. I'm still obsessed. I've still got heaps of. We got nearly 200 VV NFTs, mainly FAs of like the Batmans, the Supermans, the Spider-Mans, all that.
Yeah,
So it's
so you started making content like November, December last year. When did you like start learning about it though? When did you get interested and get introduced to NFTs in
oh,
general?
2020, like probably December or November 2020. Listen to a podcast about NFTs, and even back then, everyone was didn't really call them NFTs either. They were still like, because for a while, for a few years, I realized they were just called like tokens on the blockchain. They realized like the real smart people that were blockchain savvy knew that you could assign them to assets and essentially made an asset with an image or something like that. But
Yeah,
they didn't really know what to call these things. So towards like, I think 2020 was kind of the first year where everyone realized, hey, this is called an NFT and this is what, like they actually gave it like a name. Um, but back then, like my first reaction, I listened to a podcast and it was like, I hated it. As soon as I heard it, I was like, why is this thing even being created? My first reaction was like, this doesn't make any sense because like it's this digital thing, but like, how can you own it? And then so within an hour, I like to hear both sides. I went to another podcast speaking about how it's about with Yatsu. I think he was like one of the Animoca brands founders or something like that. He gave me the other perspective, and straight away I was sold. So I went from hating NFTs to loving NFTs in an hour because I listened to two different podcasts and
yeah,
just explained the play to earn gaming aspect of it and how you can actually have digital ownership. And I'm a big gamer, so I understood it straight away. I was like, yeah, actually, we don't own our Fortnite skins. We don't own our Call of Duty skins. We don't own anything in there. We're renting those accounts. But if we want to trade things, we can get banned if they catch us. And I was like, that's what it just made complete sense for me. And I was like, this is going to take over gaming. That was back in 2020. And then I led into VV because I was like, wait, if this is the first ever this is happening, then there should be some historical assets on the blockchain. And I believe in like the blockchain long term. So if we get these historical assets now, their long term value is going to be like valuable regardless. That's why I came to Batman, and I'm a nerd as well. So that's when I came to VV. because I kind of saw veve early 2021, but didn't touch it. I kind of saw it in January, but I was like, oh, I don't know. I thought it was kind of dodgy because there was nothing on there, and I was like, there's nothing here. They only had DC. They had like Powerpuff Girls and Ghostbusters, but I was like, this is not going to last long if that's all they have. But obviously now, if you join the app, there's so many brands on there. But that's what people
So much.
forget. Back then, it was crazy. Like even trying to buy one of these things is like so dodgy because you got to remember there's nothing on there. There's only like 6 things. Like you can't picture how it would be now. Back then, you were just like, it was all based on faith. And like I even messaged what's his name, the founders on veve on LinkedIn, and chatted with them back then. And I said, I was like, hey, like hey guys, like just not like video chat, but just on with my LinkedIn profile. I was like, hey, like I love what you guys are doing. Just want to get more information from you. And they were so nice to reply. I was talking to David Yu, and back then he was so like just humble, just replied to me. He's like, yeah, this is what we're doing. We're really excited, blah blah blah. And then after that, I was like, I was sold. I'm buying. I was gonna straight away. But veve was my first NFT to buy. I didn't buy anything for 3 or 4 months because I just really wanted to learn about where the space is going. And then in about February, March was when I first bought, I think, Batman, Joe Madureira was my first one.
Were you still able to buy any of that first set of Batman like in the store?
Yes, that was when so it was all on there. So I remember looking at the quantities, and that was also dodgy back then because I was like, none of it was sold out. The only thing I was sold out was what's the
like Donnie?
Donnie was sold out, but what's the ultra of the first season Batman?
Eddie Russo.
Eddie Russo, he was sold out, but everything else wasn't sold out when I was on there. So I could have bought like thousands. I think out of the 8,000, there was 7,000 still available of the pods, and I only bought one because back then it was so risky. I remember explaining to my girlfriend, I was like sitting there in our home office saying, like, I'm gonna buy this, and this is gonna be worth a lot of money in the future. And she's like, where are you gonna put it? She's like, where are you gonna put it in the office? Like, we don't have any space in here. I was like, no, it's a thing on my app, and she's like, you're actually nuts. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, no, like, trust me, this is gonna be a big thing in the future. So I bought one of each. I should have bought like 100 back then because Joe Madureira and Pod had thousands available. Like only like a few hundred had been bought, and yeah, that was a crazy time to kind of see that perspective from there to now, because a lot of people joining now that in my community is big veve as well. They joined in like December when the huge pump came in, but they don't have that perspective of like seeing it go for ups and downs all the way until now, right from the beginning to like where we are kind of now. But I'm grateful to have that perspective.
I had just had Silicone Secure on the podcast recently, and he had at one point like 130 Tods. Like he went insane. He sold like half of them. He's got like 70 or so left. And he's just like, well, I wanted other stuff, and we're going over it. But we think Todd could be like in the future, you know, being as like the first one, the first Batman, first one on veve and the first set. And I think we differ a little bit in price, but I think Ethereum will be, you know, in the future, it'll have like a $20 trillion market cap by like 2030. And,
exactly.
You know, figure if Bitcoin's about $1 million per coin, and, you know, Ethereum, like Todd could be like 20 ETH, and that could be like over $1 million. I think that's a little high. I mean, it makes sense, but it's just, I don't know how big do you think that like the whole crypto, like Ethereum, could get?
Yeah, so that's why I like to learn about everything. So some of the veve people I realize are just like veve, and they understand the value of Batman as an IP and as a brand. I've gone and seen how big the Ethereum ecosystem is right now, and I'm so bullish on it because I've been in crypto since 2017, so I've seen it kind of grow from where it is to kind of now. And if you all you have to do is Google Ethereum ecosystem, and you can see the DeFi, the NFTs, everything that's built on top of it. There's like hundreds to probably nearly thousands now of different little dApps and stuff built on it. But I believe in Ethereum in the future will be like just streamlined underneath a lot of the stuff that we use that are blockchain used that people won't even know. Like right now at the internet, we don't really know what kind of coding and all this is used. We just know we have this laptop and we use it, but they don't know like what are these chips, like the general public. So that's what I kind of believe with Ethereum, is that it's going to get integrated into all these systems in the future, and then eventually people will be savvy of like blockchain and like how historically it's immutable, you can't change it. The first is the first. You know, that's where I believe these Batman NFTs are going to be so valuable, because like Batman itself is the first superhero, I think, in general as well. It's not just the first veve superhero. the first Batman. I think it might even be the first superhero on the blockchain completely. And that's right as well with these assets. I like to think of it in 10 years ahead, and this is just a hypothetical, but with like a physical Batman toy or like a physical Charizard card that's worth a lot of money, it's kind of just stuck there. Like it's here, I can have it in my room, I can take a photo of it, put it on my social media, people look at it, cool, he's got that. It's like taking a photo of a Ferrari, but like that's where its use kind of ends. And what everyone's underestimating is the social currency and the social flexing that's going to happen in the future with Instagram integrating NFTs into their platform. Just one, like Meta's doing it as well. Linktree just said yesterday they're doing it, that you can actually click on a link, and if you have a community of people that own your NFTs, you can have a link that's only accessible if you prove you own that NFT. So that's like
you get a little interference there.
Oh, sorry.
Is there something in the sounds like paper crumpling?
I'm not too sure. Could be this.
Oh, maybe it's not.
Let me know if it clears up a bit. Is it?
No, it's not freezing. It's just it just sounds like paper's crumpling. But...
I think it might be actually playing through here maybe instead of my actual mic.
That's possible.
Let me just check this audio. Oh, here we go.
I don't have that advanced a setup, so
yeah. I think familiar. It could be. Here we go. Okay. Let me know if it sounds different now. Does it sound
that's better.
Okay, cool. It was coming through here instead of here, sorry, because I've never used this StreamYard before.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. So, could you hear everything I said, or
Yeah,
cool. So my biggest thing with these NFTs is that it's going to open up a whole new level of social currency, social flexing, and to the point where I believe they're going to be more valuable than some physical versions of these assets. So, like for example, a Batman toy. No one really knows what the first is. They don't really have that much value to it. People probably do, the real hardcore collectors, but in general, society doesn't really know. Whereas with these Batman NFTs, we know what's the first. It's on the blockchain, and that's the beauty of, and that's what makes these assets more valuable, is that you can actually see stamped on the blockchain, this was the first. There's no argument. There is no like, oh no, but this might have been first because it was made like in that same week. Like that's what's happening now with physical goods and physical collectibles that we have. So like physical stuff, like even like an old school Rolex, like you might be able to have like it was made in 1922 on the back of it, but you can't actually 100% prove that was made in that time. Whereas with blockchain assets, you can 100% prove it was made in that time. And I think that's a very valuable thing to have and to associate with an asset, whether it's real or physical or digital. And I also believe that once you're integrating these into Instagram, and if like I hope veve get the rights to be able to take Marvel and DC NFTs off the app to be able to put on Immutable X, and then hopefully like we can move them around Instagram and that it'll be a whole new level of social flexing, bigger than a Lamborghini, more important than like flexing like that you have a first edition Charizard card and just posting a photo of that. It'll be like you have these assets that you can actually move from, like, hey, this is like NFT for noobs, check on their NFT their channel on their Instagram, and you can see all the NFTs they own, and that'll be more of like, that's more of like, hey, I'm going to follow this guy because he owns one of the first 8,000 Batmans in the world. And then you become like that person that has that. Whereas that's not really a thing that's happening now. I can see it because I'm a gamer and I have like little cousins that play, that they're like, oh, you have that skin on Fortnite. Or you have the Black Knight skin, the first ever season. That means that you're one of the OGs. Like, I want to follow you. Now I want to play with you. And that's what like the older generation don't see. But I always try to like, I speak to my cousin because they're the next generation. I speak to my brother, my cousin, like, what are you guys playing now? Oh, Roblox, what's that? Let me research it. I'll spend like the next few hours like looking at what the economy is like. Because then that's the future, and that's what these kids want. Like, I went to my cousin. I said, hey, I'm going to give you a veve NFT. I sent him a Captain America. I said, hold on to this because it's first appearance. Like, it's going to be worth a lot. He looked at his app. He looked at it, and he knew straight away he got it. I own this now. I was like, thank you so much, playing with it in AR, reading the comics. I spoke to his parents. I said, I just sent him this. And I had to explain to them for an hour, like, how he actually owns that thing. But the kid got it straight away. Do you know what I mean? So that's the next generation that's going to come. So like, I'm thinking like 30 years time where I have these assets on the blockchain and my grandkids are like in the schoolyard flexing to their friends. Like, look at my grandfather just sent me this Batman NFT. I own it. And they all get it because they're just like, they were born into technology and they understand the idea of a digital asset. And then they're flexing to their friends like, yeah, my grandfather was one of the first and like he just had it the whole time. He's like one of the OGs. So I'm thinking more of like longevity. Like, you make cool flips on the way, but long-term wise, there's all these perspectives that people aren't taking on board, where I'm just looking at like past trends, current trends, what collectors value, plus also how blockchain integrates in the collector's world, and also how all these platforms are integrating it. And that's where everything's going, is social media. So if we can have this we can flex these assets on social media, which we can't flex these physical assets. It's just going to be a whole new level of like value given to it. So I think $1 million might be much, I think, but again, we don't know, because again, we've only got like 0.07% of the world trading NFTs or even owning one NFT right now. So it just becomes on what like the perceived value is for this. That's why I'm so bullish on veve, is that Batman already has and Superman have fan bases of billions, so the perceived value there can be a lot higher than say Bored Ape Yacht Club, which I do still like. But like, who's going to know what Bored Ape Yacht Club is when you go and walk on the street? I always walk into a shopping center and I always say like, look, there's Batman, there's Superman, there's Spider-Man. We're in Australia in the middle of nowhere sometimes, like, and we still have those superheroes. So like, so it's like it is a big it is risky though, because like if veve doesn't take it off, then it can affect that perceived value a bit more. But even if it does stay on there, all it needs to do is get that right to take it off, which is one thing, and then that just increases the value of these things so much. It's like, it's not really like it needs to do this, and this. It's just like we kind of just need to have it on Immutable X, and then that's it. Which like it might not happen in a year, 2, 3, 4 years, but if it happens in 5 years' time, then that's one thing that'll really affect all the veve, especially the Marvel and DC ones. So I had a little bit of a ramble there.
Oh no, that was great. Originally, I expected all this stuff, and I think I still might, from Designer Con to go off quickly, because it's just, hey, talk to the artist, and that's it. You get it off. But I also think that, you know, with DC really being loose with their IP, going on Hero, and doing marketing for Bat Cows, like, it seems like they want their IP everywhere. So it would make sense that they would want to get their stuff out there first. And Marvel has, they got that percent fee that they take every time it sells. So it would seem that, these big companies, not that they're good or bad or anything, you can expect them to act in their own self-interest, and their self-interest is making a lot of money. The best way to do that is by getting it off. So you're in both. You're in OpenSea, you're in veve. There are things like obviously Bored Ape Yacht Club. There's Moonbirds recently. What are some other things that people should not sleep on? Because people say like, oh, that doesn't have good IP. We don't know what nobody knows what it is. What are some things that people shouldn't sleep on?
Yeah, so that's the thing. When I came over from veve to OpenSea, because I started on veve for a few months, and I went into OpenSea, I kind of took the same. And again, veve people are going to struggle with this, so I think this will be very relatable. Is that I had the same mentality where I was like, historically, like I want IP that's historical, kind of, but it's hard with OpenSea because like none of it is. Like besides Artifact, I think, because Nike's associated with it. So I'm bullish on Artifact because it's like Nike. Everyone knows who Nike is. They just don't know who Artifact is yet because there's not that much being spoken about it. But like they're associated with probably the biggest brand in the world. So I'm bullish on that ecosystem, and they just continue to deliver. I've been following their journey before they even launched Clone X. I was researching their founders, and their founders, all three of them, are just beasts in each of their field, to the point where Nike literally wanted to buy the company and bought it. So I trust their team, and I love what they've done, and I'm very bullish on that ecosystem. Just going back. So when I came into the OpenSea ones back in 2021, early 2021, I was trying to find like historically significant NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. And again, this is more of a longer term play, but I was looking at like the first Ethereum art NFT. I still have it. It's called a Curio card. It's an apple. It looks like shit. It's not really as aesthetic as these other veve NFTs. But I was like, if this Ethereum ecosystem is going to be forever, which I believe, then there's going to be like some blockchain nerds out there in the next 5 to 10 years that are going to want these assets that are the first of. Because again, it's a flex in your metaverse or on your Instagram in your Instagram channel that you have on your feed. Is like, holy shit, he's got the first Ethereum one. Does that mean it's either you're really early or you're just really rich at the time? Because there'll only be a limited supply, and there'll be a lot of people that want to have that as just like a piece of history. So that's the way I kind of approached when I went into OpenSea, is trying to find these historical assets, like the first art NFT on Ethereum, the first NFT on Bitcoin, because there are on Bitcoin as well. I went through a rabbit hole of literally I'm a super like historical nerd as well with those NFTs on there, because there's like the rare Pepes, there's the Spells of Genesis cards, which were like back in 2017.
You said red Pepes, like Pepe the Green Frog, but they're red?
Yeah, they're rare. They're called rare Pepes, Rare. Yeah, they were one of the first ever like collection of NFTs. I don't know if they're still making them now, but on Bitcoin back in 2017. So there are some rare Pepes but there's so many of them. It's really hard to like, with each collection you go through. It's not like veve where it's like you have secret, rare to common. Each collection that I was like kind of researching, the historical ones, they had their own like suppliers, and they had their own like artists that had made them, so that some of them were rarer than the others. They had season 1 to season 25 or something, and within those seasons it was all random. So trying to research them took like weeks to really understand what was going on. But like the first season of Rare Peppers, some of them are worth like, some of them are selling up to like hundreds of thousands of dollars. This was back in, I haven't looked at historical NFTs for a while, but Spells of Genesis, one of their, it's the first ever, I'm pretty sure the first ever art NFT ever was on Spells of Genesis. Correct me if I'm wrong, if people in the audience, but that was the Spells of Genesis one, and that one's worth, it was selling for like 300k back in, to 500k back in middle 2021. I can't exactly remember what the card was now, but and it was purely because of the historical aspect that like all these, mainly crypto nerds that had a lot of money and made a lot of money through crypto were buying these assets because they realized, because they realized that the how big crypto is and how big blockchain will be. They realized that relevance, so they were trying to stack them pretty much. Yeah.
Jeez. That's so much for, again, and these are things that, you know, I haven't really heard of.
Exactly.
So why are they so valuable and no one's ever heard of them? Is it just because there are a couple people like you that are OGs that are into the art and history and they go there?
Yeah, it's pretty much just because they're banking that the Ethereum ecosystem will be like, I believe everything will be NFTs. I think everything will be NFTs, like in some way or form. Like even like the books behind me, when you buy them, like it won't be like it comes with the exact book image of the book, but like to help with like supply chain management, and that'll be an NFT to show like where these assets are going, where they're coming. It's just more efficient. Like it's, you don't really need it, but like it'll be make a more efficient workplace. You save a lot of money in the long term. So if everything in the world is an NFT, then historically the first will always be super valuable. And again, in an industry where you can actually prove that was the first, like because the collector's industry is huge now, and like everyone wants to collect anything. Like you can collect Pokemon cards, books, like Rolex watches, but like the problem with that industry is that you can't actually prove. That's why you have those shows on like Discovery and stuff, Pawn Shop or whatever, where it's like you walk in and they look at it and they're like, oh, this was made in this, and that's got a audience. Oh, you got one, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I gotta love these Pokemon cards.
Holy shit, yeah.
These are like my bread and butter for like the longest time.
Yeah. 100%. That's cool. Yeah. Do you have any Charizards?
I had a first edition BGS 9 Charizard, and I traded that for a first edition Neo Genesis box sealed, and I just wound up selling it for Omi, pretty much. For
Omi as well, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I sold it all for Omi. The biggest one I had was a trophy Kangaskhan,
really?
PSA 10. So yeah, that was nuts. But I can't wait to get back. When I get back in, just because like I think there's some things that, one of the advantages I see veve having is that, let's say first edition PSA 10 Charizard, several $100,000. You know, if you don't want that, you can get a PSA 9 for like 1/10 of the price. PSA 8 you get for half of that, and there's so many of them if you go down the line, and that's just first edition. But like a Superman, you know, there's no specific grades. They're just all Superman. You know, you have mint numbers, but so you know, there's so few compared to how many there could be. You know, it's not like they have an unlimited mint run where they have, you know, you have these are first edition and these are, you know, 80 they're 80,000, you know, unlimiteds. They're exact same. So when I do get back into Pokemon, I'll probably just be into like the trophy cards when I get back into there. Any other physical collectibles that you've collected over the years?
No, I did have a few Pokemon cards as well, but not like the real hectic ones, because like we're very, in our house, it's like collectibles and stuff like that. We just like, my partner doesn't really like them. That's why this worked out perfectly. And again, this is another selling point for NFTs, because my partner's like, no clutter, nothing, none of that. So I have like a lot of Pokemon like merchandise and stuff like that, if I can have like in the background, but like I don't have that many. Like if I could, I'd have so much Pokemon shit everywhere. Like I love Pokemon, but just because like we're like an anti-clutter, and like I was like, oh, it's not really worth it. And then, but that's why when NFTs came around, I'm like, I'm throwing all my money to this now, because I've won a reason to be collecting things I love now. And it's just like, it makes more sense. It's all no clutter at all, which again, it will be another thing in the future, which is huge, I think, especially once we have the mass adopted AR glasses, which it's literally an arms race for, I don't know if people research, but like Amazon, like Apple, everyone's trying to create these glasses. Essentially like the first ever iPhone or iPod that went viral and got like mass adopted. People are trying to do that with like an augmented reality aspect. Like once that happens, like we'll be sitting here, we'd even have this chat with these glasses. I can potentially even see you on the other side of this room, and we're just kind of looking at each other now. And then imagine the NFT capability after that as well. You can just LiDAR technology, put it everywhere, and then you have a whole house full of your collectibles.
Did you see what Niantic's doing with their shared space AR?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
Is that recent?
yeah, like the article came out, I think like a couple weeks or like a month ago. Like, you know how if you put on like a Quest or HT Vive or whatever, you just see what's in your vicinity of your area. And
Yeah.
if somebody else puts on a Quest, like they can't see. Like it's their own separate thing. But they want to make a full, like kind of how everything's being built on like Unity engine. They want to make like a full AR like layer so that it's a whole shared space. So if I have something on, and right now that's clunky, you know, it's basically a phone that's in there. But when people come out with glasses, they're gonna see whatever you want to expose. Like if I have something on me, like let's say I have a Superman or have Batman or whatever it is, people are gonna be able to see that like following me. Like they could see the stuff that's above
Really?
me. Yeah.
Yeah. Holy
So
shit.
I don't know how long that's gonna take. Again, they just kind of announced that they're working on it. But like you said, you know, you have all these multi-hundred-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies that are, trying to race for it. So I think it comes within the next couple of years.
Yeah, that's crazy. And again, there's like I'm explaining to you now the most like logical like perspective in the next 5 years time, like of AR glasses, like Instagram already doing it, all that kind of stuff. But like then there's like what you just mentioned, where we can't even foresee what else could be implemented into it that will give these assets more value. Like I can see that having value. Imagine walking around in just public and you've set those items to follow you around or whatever, and then now like you're just walking public, and now you have not just virtual clout but physical clout when you're walking in like in real life, and kids are coming up to you like, is that a Superman behind you, like is that really yours? And like, yeah, it's mine. Like bought it 10 years ago, everyone said I was crazy, but look at us now, kind of thing.
So the one thing that I think is really undervalued that I don't really see people talking about yet, I don't think I've even mentioned it myself, is that in Pokemon Yellow, when Pikachu followed you around, you're like, this is the greatest thing ever. And then they
Yeah,
took it away for a while. They took it away until
yeah,
I
they
think
did.
Heart Gold and Gold Silver.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's
So
right.
if we do get kind of spoiled with veve because they are premium 3D digital collectibles and some are animated. Most NFTs are just JPEGs. But I
Yeah.
think whether it's veve or another company, they make something like that, and then it actually walks with you, like Deadpool following you, or if you have Pokemon NFT and it's Pikachu following you, that's going to be insane. Like to be able to see
Mm.
that is going to be nuts.
Exactly that. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Like again, you just told me that, and I honestly hadn't even thought of that even happening. But again, that's another thing that could give these things so much value, and it might take a few years time, but everyone's building it. I know, like everyone that I've spoken to that are like in some good places, like building different things. They're all talking about the metaverse. They're all talking about building new ways to integrate blockchain into all these apps and all these kind of things. And like I have a lot of meetings like this with people trying to like use my page for me to talk about them. I don't talk about 99% of them, but I have the meetings because I just want to learn. Because I'm like, hey, what are you guys even doing? Like some Forbes 20 under 20 people building like the next version of Shopify / Linktree, and I'm like, these people are like smart and they're in this space. Like it doesn't have to be exactly veve, but they're in the blockchain space. So
Yeah.
it's just reassuring having those meetings with these people, and like VCs and like Silicon Valley saying how they're investing into like they're looking at more NFT orientated companies, but like now like creators they were saying as well. It's nuts. Like so many people don't realize that as well, but like people are building in the background or trying to build on this space while it's early.
Yeah, you'd probably have a good time at VCon. There's a thing that Gary Vee's putting on, like a whole thing for NFTs. I'm going to that this
Yeah, I know.
weekend. I can't wait.
Are you going?
Yeah, I leave tomorrow. I'm
Oh,
excited for it.
nice. Yeah,
But
I really
yeah,
wanted
so
to go, but
what
I'm
do you
so
say to
far
the people?
away and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy far. Hopefully they
Mm,
do something like that in Australia.
mm.
Hopefully veve does something like that in Australia as well.
Yeah.
I imagine they would at some point.
Well, they're
Uh,
New Zealand, so I'd hope so. Yeah.
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 What do you say to people that currently, because South Park did a pretty good show. They did like an episode on what most NFTs are.
I think
Did
I
you
did.
see that
Yeah.
episode? It's
I
like called
saw it.
the
I saw a clip of it where like I think he's outside and he's like yelling, "My NFT is." Yeah, I think I kind of remember it, but I haven't seen the episode though. But I was laughing at it from what I
yeah.
can remember. Can you fill me in on what happened on the episode?
Yeah, so it's like 40 years in the future and all the kids are like grown up and Butters is like this like sleazy like car salesman, but like an NFT car salesman. So he goes to like their version of Applebee's And like, all right, what you could do is you could make a little caterpillar Applebee. You can give it out to people and give them discounts on it. And every time they trade it, you can get a fee. And he's going based on like what a lot of NFTs are. But they make it so that it look like all NFTs look like a pyramid scheme, and it looks like, again, it was very well done. But what do you make of people that currently think all NFTs are a scam, or they think all NFTs are bad for the environment? Like, how do you get through to them, or you don't? You just have to let them figure it out on their own.
It's kind of hard because, like, with my TikTok and stuff, like, if you go from different platforms, like if you go on Twitter, you speak about it. There's the communities on Twitter, the NFT community, so they're very nice to you. If you go on TikTok and you see some of my viral videos, I can't even read the comments because it's just like I used to try and argue with them at the beginning, but then I realized there's no point because like it's like 99% of people are just shitting on essentially NFTs and on me on the viral ones anyway. But then it's funny because then they follow me, so they're interested, but they're like, but they hate it. But they're like, hey, actually, I just want to follow this guy so I can see what he's talking about because it's like I've never seen it before. But it's hard, to be honest. Like even my like friends, and I'm not sure about you, but like my friends and family at the beginning were kind of like, they weren't like, oh, you're crazy, but my partner said that at one stage, but they were just like, that's interesting, but like, are you sure, dude? And it took like literally up until veve, my portfolio went really well, that they started taking more interested in it now. But like, I kind of just I just like stick to myself, and I try to find people that are more like-minded like yourself, and then I can have group chats and actually like message them and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And we can brainstorm. But in terms of trying to bring on the general public, that's what I'm trying to do my TikTok, to get people on board and get them in my Discord so I teach them. And the ones that do get into Discord, that have taken that extra step, they're open. Like I haven't got anyone that's entered my Discord yet. I think we have 12,000 people in there that are like, hey, this is the shittest thing ever, and it's in there to shit on me. They're just in there, and it's like, hey, I want to learn. So it's like, I feel like the general public's just very confused at the moment. And to be fair, like I would be as well if I wasn't such a nerd and like a gamer. And that's how I got it straight away. If you're not a gamer, you're not a nerd, and you're kind of just like more about the physical world, this is going to make no sense to you at all. And that's fine. I don't mind, but I just know that that's how the internet was back in the 90s. And like everyone was like confused about, they thought it was a place. How do you get there? And it's like, it's not a place. You go through like a computer and then you're there, kind of thing. And I think it's the same thing where people just, over time, they won't realize that it's being used, or like these big companies are going to force it upon them. I mean, Instagram's literally going to integrate it in there. So you're forced to see NFTs every single day, to the point where it's like they see it 100 times and now they're intrigued. Hey, I'll buy one. And that's where as well, I'm bullish on veve, because it's like, well, where's Superman? I want one of them. And then they come to that. So I think it's just a matter of time. This is just like the first time I've ever been early to an industry. Like I was in crypto 2017, but I still think that wasn't as early as we are now with NFTs. And I kind of compare it to like those people back in early days of Uber and Airbnb, and they're investing in it back then because they're like, hey, this has legs. This is going to go somewhere. Whereas the majority of the mass, like the general public, would have laughed at you and been like, hey, who's going to stay in a random person's house? And how is that business going to work? Or who's going to hop in a random person's car? Like, that's so unsafe. Whereas these people with like, that did the research, which I've just been doing nonstop for like year and a half-ish now, of just like, literally just like every single day, I'm just constantly, you can see from my content, like my content is the research I put out there on Instagram, especially like the daily stuff that's happening, that it's just, I'm so bullish on the space now. I just have there's no going back. I'm just so convicted. I don't really mind if it crashes in price. I just know in long term, blockchain is going to get adopted, and NFTs are on the blockchain. So they come hand in hand.
So I was going over, I just took a look at your TikTok with one of the ones that had like 750 million views, or 750,000 views. The one where you're talking about the Disney NFTs with Bart and Homer. Dude, some of those comments, they're insane.
I know.
Like, saying, I'm never going to see a Disney movie again because they're doing this for a quick buck with zero regard to the environment. Like, people should learn about this. Like, people should. And I get it. Like, some NFTs are not good for the environment, which okay, but like, if it was that bad for the environment, then most people would make it. But again, if you would just look into it, oh, they're on Immutable X. Oh, it's a carbon neutral thing. Oh, okay, So I mean, when you have a troll like this, Tucson Collectibles, saying, oh, S&P kicked Tesla out of its S&P 500. And then you look deeper into it, and then you take a look at that, and you say, okay, well, if they have Exxon as being rated at this top 10 best in the world for environment, social, and governments, by the S&P 500, while Tesla didn't even make the list, ESG is a scam. So you have people spreading fake news, so that person's being blocked. Did your friends ever want you to do some of those things? Like, friends ever want you to go and read some of your hateful comments, like they do on like
Um,
Jimmy Fallon?
some my friends are really nice. Like they were never like, hey, I'll get involved with you with this, but they were like, you could see they thought I was crazy, kind of. But no, they were never like that. They kind of like, and honestly, I kind of separated myself from everything because like I don't know about you, but I'm like, if I hang around like people and they do this and that, I become like them. So I was like, I just want to be like the best at NFTs in whatever field. I just knew it was the future. If it was collecting, building, whatever, I knew it was going to be big. So I kind of just like, I just for a whole year, I kind of disassociated myself, even with the news, even with the media. Because and it can be, people can say that's just kind of crazy because like you kind of need an outside perspective. But I just had so much conviction. I kind of just separated myself from everything, and so that everything I was doing every week, I was just so engulfed in this space. I didn't have to deal with that like outside, like that
Yeah.
negativity from all these people. And that's why like by the time I created my that's why I was confident enough to create content in November, because I already had over a year's worth of being in the space, that if these comments did come up, I could actually answer them and give them like a good structured reply. On like, I haven't replied to all of them just because I don't have time, but I used to reply to all of them and be like, well, actually no, it's carbon neutral. Or people would be like, blockchain and crypto is just for money laundering. And I'm like, well, actually, crypto is made because after the global financial crisis, to literally help us elevate the humanity to like a new level of like helping us get more decentralized and give us like more rights as the general public as well. And then I'd give them like more structured replies like that. And then they would like eventually, some of them would even turn and be like, thank you for like replying and giving me a new perspective. Some of them were just like stuck in their ways and were just like, nah, F you. And I was like, cool, like that's cool, like that's fine. Like everyone's gonna have their own perspective, but that again comes with just being so early.
Yeah.
And after a while, again, you probably have some of them as well that you just kind of deal with, and you're just like, oh, it's just part of having a platform now. I've just kind of had to deal with it. But the first early stages was pretty hard because like it is hard. Like people don't realize creating content, and especially across a lot of platforms. I don't think it's natural for human beings to get so many opinions thrown at them as one person. Like
Yeah.
it can become like mentally, and like it's very unhealthy, I think. But I think
It's
that's when
never
you build. It's never
never been
good.
done before.
Yeah. And
You
like
know,
usually you just get one or two opinions from your mom, your dad, your partner, your friends, and like in a social environment, they're the opinions you get. But now, like you and me and like some other the bigger content creators out there, we're getting thousands of things getting sent to us every single day. That
yeah.
like in your brain, like mentally, I could see why people like kind of crumble and stuff, but you kind of just gotta blur out the noise.
It's so strange how your mind chooses to pick the outliers. Like in like a really negative situation, a lot of people find hope, and a lot of people
Mm,
find like that one thing to hold on to. And in really positive situations, like I get a lot of love, but
mm.
every now and then I'll just be like you're a scammer, or you're like go
Yeah,
kill yourself, and it's like, and
yeah.
I don't I just block the person, but like
Mm.
I don't know why I think about those ones like more often, like filled with so much love. Um,
Yeah. It is weird, isn't it? I think the same. I'm like, I get a good one and I'm like, that's cool. Then I get the bad one and I really feel the bad one. And you're like, oh, that made me feel like shit today. And sometimes it can even affect your whole day. Like, if I'm being completely honest, like you get a bad one and it's like, depending if you're already having a shitty day, and that just is like the final straw where you're like, oh, like I just don't want to deal with this stuff today. And
yeah.
and that's just part of like what we're kind of doing, I guess. It's just part of the journey. And that's why like I try to listen to other people that have been through that. Like Gary Vee speaks about it a lot, where he's like, that's where you just got to center yourself, regardless of like, you got to control your emotions, whether it's good or really bad. You get a lot of views or no views. You just got to keep neutral. In that way, when he does go up and down, your moods don't go with it. Your emotions don't go with it. It's just like
Yeah.
you're neutral. That's cool. That happened. Let's just move on, kind of thing. Which is I'm trying to keep more of like a conscious mind about whenever stuff like that does happen.
Yeah. No. So I think your biggest following is on TikTok. I haven't really gone too deep into. I have a couple of videos on there. I'll post maybe like once a month. They really have nothing to do with NFTs.
Mm.
Uh, what's a good way to monetize that? How can you start monetizing TikTok?
Yeah, well, I use TikTok just because I had like I used to do a lot of like social media marketing and stuff for like ecom brands. So I kind of knew that's where everyone is right now. That's where it's hot. That's where everything's growing. So I was like, I knew that if I was to create content, it'd be from TikTok because that's the easiest to grow. And then from there, like you can filter people to your other platforms if you need. So you just got to kind of understand the algorithm and go from there. So then, like even if you don't want to monetize on TikTok, you can grow. Like I've grown my Discord to 12,000 just from TikTok. That's it. And I've grown my Instagram to 25K just from TikTok. Like that's pretty much it. Like recycling the same content there's like a strategy to everything that I'm doing because I had that experience before. But I knew like TikTok would be the top of funnel, and then you just filter everyone down to all your other platforms.
Yeah.
And then from there, like you can build a community easy. And you're just literally using the same TikTok video, taking it over to Instagram, and then posting the same thing. Just get rid of the watermark. And in that way, Instagram's trying to implement the same algorithm where the thing with TikTok is that you can have 1,000 followers, but one of your video gets 1 million views, and you can go from 1,000 to 30,000 overnight. So the virality on TikTok is a lot more. It's crazier, and that way you can grow bigger followings overnight and stuff like that. You just got to understand the algorithm where the first 3 seconds are the most important, and you got to make sure the video is watched all the way through, which can also make the content really bad. Because again, my stuff, I try to do 2 educational between 1 viral video, and in that way, like at least I'm giving value back, but I need to also embrace the algorithm. But like on TikTok,
30 seconds.
Sorry,
the first 30 seconds are the most important.
It's usually. It depends on the length of the video. There's like I could speak about like half an hour about this, but like the best way to get like a good video out there would be keep it between 10 to 12 seconds and make sure the first 3 seconds like really engages the people, because the TikTok algorithm is different stages of like how it sends it out to go viral. Like the most important factor is that the video has been watched all the way through by most people. So like the percentage watched by most people watching, if that makes any sense. That's like the main thing that the algorithm kind of looks for. And if it does well with that, it boosts it. So if it's a longer video though, you do, for example, if you do like a minute video, then it doesn't have to be watched as long as say a 12-second video. But if it was watched for 60% by 60% of the people watching, then it can have the same virality as well. Because obviously it's harder to get people to be engaged to 1 minute video. But if you can get them engaged at least for 60%, then they give that the exact same equivalent of being watched like a 12-second video all the way through 100%. So there's like little things like that you can kind of use to advantage, but it also affects your content. Because like I find sometimes I know that the content I'll create is like just for clickbaity purposes, but I know it's like I have to do it because that's just part of the growing the community.
Algorithms are so strange. Like there's like, were you ever on Vine back in the day?
I was on Vine for a little bit, yeah.
How does that algorithm work when you only have like a 6-second video?
Yeah, exactly.
Like I wonder how it came. Like even now on like YouTube, if you make like a random YouTube account, and you don't like anything, you don't subscribe or comment to anything, and you just click on like one video and then just have it play to the next video over and over, it will default to SpongeBob and Shrek videos like automatically. Doesn't matter which video you click on. Yeah, if you keep playing it enough, if you let it just do its thing without liking, commenting, or doing anything, it will default automatically like SpongeBob and Shrek. And I was like, how does this happen? Like
across the world, like if everyone in the world was to do that, it would always just go to Shrek and SpongeBob?
It does so my friend Justin, it does in New York. My friend Justin did it, and he's like, he's done it like multiple times, and it always goes to those two and then like one other thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be the same in like Ukraine or Brazil or Austria. I mean, SpongeBob and Shrek are pretty American things, so that might make sense. But
yeah, it is weird. And again, you got to like you probably understand as well, but the people that don't have social media or don't use it to try and grow it, each platform's different. So like, if you don't understand how the platform works and the algorithm, then like you're trying to build a brand or build like a community, you're going to get cut short early because you're going to just be doing stuff for no reason. You got to have a strategy to kind of what you're doing. And that's why like I haven't touched YouTube yet because I don't really understand the YouTube algorithm. Whereas I just knew TikTok from what I'd done. Sorry?
Was that good? You answered a question.
Oh yeah.
Like, hey, you have a YouTube channel.
No, I don't. And that's just because I've just been so busy I'll get into my other stuff, but like I'm doing this like helping one of Australia's biggest music festivals get into the NFT space. So that's been really taking a lot of my time the last 3 or 4 months. I literally told my community I was going to start YouTube beginning of this year, but so much stuff has just come up that I just haven't had time to do it because your YouTube channel, like it's a lot to maintain. Like TikTok's easy. And even then TikTok takes me like an hour to 2 hours to do a video sometimes. I can't imagine the effort that because I put in like a lot of effort into the script.
The editing and stuff.
Yeah, the editing. I try to make sure it's like very tactical with everything that's going on, and then sometimes it just gets 100 views. So it's like
this is probably why you have 200,000 followers, though. Like I never have a script. I don't, but like they're just like even like for podcasts like this, I've never used a script. Like when David Yu came on the podcast, I saw that. That was also on the back of like it was in the middle of like a 13-hour podcast that I was doing, and he just came on. I was like,
13 hours.
It went for like 16, but he came on like the 13th hour. It was
Holy shit.
it was nuts. You know, I was able to clip that and make that its own video, but yeah, like for all the videos I do, there's no script, like, and I don't edit, like I don't have a computer, so like if I would have like put time in, like Taps Trades makes really good content, and you know, people that do that, you know, the edit button, I probably grow a little bit quicker. And also the first 30 seconds of every video is just the Patreon member shout out.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
So
I
I
love that.
imagine that gets people to click off like right away.
No, it's
But
different
they
on
were
YouTube
first.
as well. Like
They
yours
were,
is different. So you'd know about YouTube than I do. Like I don't really understand the algorithm there, so it could work. Because like even your Twitter's got like 10,000 followers and stuff like that. Like what you're
yeah.
doing is working. So then sometimes like what you're doing is being who you are can just help as well. Like regardless of what the algorithm is.
Yeah, I think I'm in this like really niche area where like people just like, oh, he's a real person because he doesn't have
Yeah.
this like fancy background or fancy
Mm.
equipment. Got this dirty ass fridge in the back.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, other people love that, and it's the honesty and that's just who I am. You're not trying to like pretend you're anyone else. People
Yeah.
love that as well.
I mean, I finally did get a new chair. It's a $15 lawn chair that I got that you go camping with. So with all the stuff that you're doing, how much of that goes back into production? Like how much goes into like new camera for you? How much goes into audio equipment?
Yeah, so right now I've only got like a MacBook and like this ring light that's like kind of coming this way, and just this. Yeah, I bought like another um camera, so it's just a bit more high quality. So if I do stuff like this, but in
Yeah.
terms of like that's all I've really bought. Like I haven't really bought anything else because like with TikTok, all I need is my phone, and that's what I've just been doing. It's just the front camera of like just an iPhone, like don't even know what this is, like 11 or something. I bought it 2 years ago, but I do want to eventually buy a new MacBook because mine's like an old one from 2012. So eventually I do want to buy that. I just haven't had the time to do that, but I definitely want to be like once like more money comes in from what I'm doing as well, then I'll just eventually buy new things here and there when I need it. But I haven't really had that much time, to be honest.
How many sets you got on veve?
On Vivi, let me have a look. I'm not a big set guy, so people
Okay.
Vivi people might not like me for this, but as I said, I'm very historically significant. So when I saw Superman, like I bought like 5 of him straight away. Like I go for
Nice.
more for like, and I bought him were you around back then? I bought him for like $50 each, all of them back
Yeah.
then,
I,
and they were like off the
I got
drop.
I got one on the drop, and then I got one for 150 after, and then I remember thinking like, man, I don't know if I should have paid 150. And this guy Ray Fixie, who I didn't know at the time, he's like, you
Oh,
know,
Ray
Superman's
Fixie.
going to $500. I was like,
Yeah,
that's a lot. I would give him a big market cap, and
yeah,
then when he did, I sold one of them for 500, and I was like,
nice.
okay, cool. And then
Yeah,
it went up to like 1,500. It's like, oh, I think I made a mistake.
yeah. And then went up to like
um,
7,000, I think, at its most, or 6,000
yeah,
or something.
it was
It was
nuts.
nuts. Yeah, I have 5. So my name, I was so early. I've even got Joshua on there. I remember when I put my name in. I've got like the name Joshua, and I've got only 5 sets. I
Yeah.
literally don't. I don't even care about sets. I just go for like stacking, like the Black Panthers. I've got so many of them. The first appearance, just because I believe in the first appearance on the
Yeah.
blockchain, is my
But
kind of strategy.
do you think that might have an effect? Like, do you think the MCU will have an effect on the value of some of these? Like,
100%. I think
because like, what are
so.
they gonna do about Black Panther? Like, he was supposed to play an integral
True.
part in like Secret Wars, but
Mm,
I mean, they could get a new, like, they're
mm,
not gonna recast T'Challa, but they
mm.
could put Shuri in. They can even make Storm Black Panther. You know, part of the
Yeah.
comic.
Or they could get another universe one and make it like Killmonger, because like they have the different universes. He could be
That'd be
Black
dope.
Panther.
That'd
That'd
be
be
dope.
sick
Yeah.
if they did that. I do believe that as well. That's why and I love the way Marvel is going, which is another outside factor. Like they were bought by Disney, and ever since then they've just been pumping out movies and series, and it's just like getting the next generation obsessed, plus the older generation are already obsessed. So they're
Yeah.
just like literally helping us with our assets, because like they're continuing this journey and this story of Marvel for the next 10 years to 20 years, which is also why I'm so bullish on these Marvel NFTs as well. But yeah, I agree that if there's a movie that comes out, it usually goes up. That's why like I think there's a Deadpool one that might be coming out later on. People like are buying a lot of Deadpools because they want to sell some of them during that pump that comes when the movie comes out. That's a good strategy as well. I've kind of seen that happen in the past, but yeah, I think it depends. It depends really. Like we can always predict, but you never really know what'll happen. But I'm quite bullish on that.
Yeah, that's why I got a couple of the America Chavez comic books. Because I think it's got like the perfect storm. It's got, you have like the woke left that'd be like, oh, she's a she's a Latina girl with 2 biological moms, and they're gonna love that. And then she's gonna be in the Young Avengers, and so I think that'd be really cool. And she's gonna be a really powerful character when she learns the stuff. Did you see Doctor Strange?
I did see it. I loved it. I saw it a few days ago. Yeah,
it was great.
It was so good. Honestly, but I'm biased for all the movies though. Like I'm such a big Marvel and DC nerd. Like people are trying to criticize it, like talking about how he said this and that didn't make sense. I was like, I don't care, dude. I just want to see them like in action. That's all I want to do.
The cameos they put in, I was freaking out. I was like,
I know. The Illuminati. I was like, oh, I lost my mind when they put in Doctor Xavier as well was in there. Oh.
And they played the X-Men theme when he started rolling out.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. Goosebumps. Yeah. And then he also had like they're paying homage to like a different version of him. We had the yellow chair, which like he never had in the original X-Men series that they did.
Yeah, that was the 90s X-Men.
The 90s X-Men, yeah. And it's honestly like I can't wait for like hopefully I hope John Krasinski stays on as like the Fantastic Four and they do integrate that in the future.
They'll probably have they'll probably have a good amount of those people. They'll be in future movies just playing alternate universes of themselves. I could see that happen at some point.
You see that, yeah, because the Secret Wars thing I was trying to learn about it the other day. I think it's going to be insane. Isn't Into the Spider-Verse going to somehow play into this as well? Because isn't that Spider-Man part of the Secret Wars? He's like a pinnacle part of the whole story.
Miles is, yeah.
Miles is, yeah.
So they have so I think Secret Wars is not going to be the next Avengers movie. It might be like the next Avengers movie because they have to introduce all of the Fantastic Four. They have to introduce Namor the Submariner. They have to somehow reintroduce Thanos again. They got like Owen Reese, Molecule Man. There's so but the incursions. They have to get a new, like, I guess, Falcon's the new Captain America, but Old Man Captain America is in like that movie. So and we have Old Man Cap. So
we do have Old Man Cap. You can see them kind of putting it all together. Hey, yeah, they do. Yeah. You do need Old Man Cap. You need Miles, which I'm hoping at the end of Into the Spider-Verse 2, he comes out into like this portal and he's like human, and he's like he comes from like the virtual, like a cartoon to like real life, and he somehow comes out, and that he'll be like a real life person in the next Secret Wars kind of next stage. But I'm still learning about that.
Yeah, there was because with the Illuminati, you're supposed to have Black Panther in there, supposed to have Iron Man in there, and apparently Tom Cruise was supposed to be a version of Iron Man, but Iron Man. I don't know if it was I don't know if they had something like over budget or they, but I think like they had him there and they just couldn't do it.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that'll be interesting again for Secret Wars like that. So just read like Jonathan Hickman's like Avengers and New Avengers, like going into that Secret Wars. It's so good. Like I love that and Civil War. I love so much.
Yeah. Because I've actually been watching this. There's this 8-hour YouTube video where someone goes through that whole series. I only just started going into it like probably last week. I've only watched like the first hour. They don't read it word by word, but he's such a nerd about this whole space that he'll bring up, like, he'll go through and explain it very well. He'll be like, so pretty much this happens, and he's got the visuals of what's happening, and then this person did this, and it's like an 8-hour long version of like from the beginning to the end of like Secret World. I'm only like an hour in.
Oh, is that like, Comics Explained? He does.
I think so. But it's like a back-to-back. I think it's a compilation of like an hour's worth of each video. He just put into one long one so people can just watch the whole thing in one go.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff like that, which is really cool. Yeah, it's that whole thing is just absolutely bananas. The artwork, the whole it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's
so good.
Yeah, Doctor Strange being in there and Thor, and you have Jane Foster in there as well. So they're setting up for it. Jane Foster, so excited.
No, same. I honestly can't wait. Like I live for these video, all the movies and stuff that they do, and it just plays so much like back into what we're doing, like collecting the veve stuff. Like it just gives me more, makes me want to buy more.
Yeah, you can tell what's coming on veve based on the stuff
what's coming out.
Yeah. So like She-Hulk, did you see the trailer for that?
No, I didn't see it. No, is that get leaked or something? I saw some. I think you posted about it.
The trailer came out like yesterday.
Okay.
So I had a whole video on it. There's we're probably going to get obviously She-Hulk. We're probably going to get Bruce Banner Hulk. We're probably going to get, because we have Elektra under the Daredevil name. Probably going to get Daredevil because he's a lawyer, same as Jennifer Walters, so he'll be in there. We're going to get a lot from that She-Hulk one. Like it's going to be bananas.
Yeah, okay. I haven't seen that trailer. I got to watch that.
Yeah. What comics do you have on the veve app?
I've got the first. I bought 13 of the first ever Marvel ones, and I sold like 8 of them for $3. That was the first that was the first L I ever took. Was that I had literally like 13. I was sitting there just going buy. I was like, what's going on? I'm just buying so many of these, and then that's the first time I ever like really made a bad decision. And I look back, I was like, oh my god, like $3. What was I doing? Nuts.
I mean,
I
messed up on that too. You know, I just didn't buy it. I just didn't buy any of them. I was so
I didn't
stupid.
buy any of them. Really? I went for all of them right at the beginning.
Yeah, at the time they said like, well, comics won't count towards MCP points. So I was like, I'm not going to waste my money on that. And like, I was only thinking one way. I wasn't thinking. I fudged up so hard on that.
So I have I don't know why it's not loading, but I have like there's a few of them down the bottom here. But I've got like I stick to the first as well.
Daredevil number 1.
Yeah, Daredevil number 1. I've got like the Deadpool Secret Rare, Fantastic Four 1. I've got like the Journey into Mystery. I got all of them off drop. The Journey into Mystery ones. So I got like I think I got 7 or 8 off those drops, and I got like some uncommon, some rares, and I've only got 3 of these Marvel comic commons left. I gave a few to some of my friends and stuff, and then I got an ultra rare actually off the drop, which was like either Marvel comic.
Oh, sweet!
That was off the drop, so that was really lucky. And then the Deadpool as well, Secret Rare off the drop. So I've got a few of them. I've got like heaps of them down here actually. But I haven't looked at my because in times like this, I feel like this is when people make emotional decisions. So I don't really look at it. I just attend drops, like I attended the Thor and like the Superman versus Flash and stuff. But in terms of like looking at your overall value, I feel like if you're doing it every day, you're gonna lose your mind. And that's what I kind of did at the beginning of this whole thing was when it first went up and my value went up to like 40K or something that came back down to 10K. I was like, oh, I'm an idiot, all this stuff. But now I'm just like, oh, I'll just start building. Like I'll just do content, build in these times, and eventually, like, time will tell.
Yeah, same. I'm kind of in a just hold everything period. I mean, if Omi dips down to 3 zeros, I'm gonna go hard again on it. But you have a bunch of NFTs. Do you have any Omi?
I had a lot of Omi. That's where I first put all my money before these NFTs. I didn't have any veve NFTs in January last year or Feb. I bought a shitload of Omi, and that's when it had that huge pump. It literally went. I think I put in like 5K or something, and it went up to like nearly 30K or something like that. I had like a huge pump at that time, and I'm not sure that was when Logan Paul was talking about it and all that. And then I took some profits there, and then I kind of put it into the veve NFTs, and then I had a lot still left, like 80% of it still in there. Then it came back down to what my initial investment was, and it was kind of sitting there. And I was like I love Omi as well, but like I only wanted to invest like 5 to 10K in like Omi and veve. So I was like, let's just move the money around. So I was just slowly moving it back and forth with the drops. I'd move more and more and more because I enjoyed it as well. I was like, oh, I just love like these NFTs more as well. It might be harder to liquidate, but I was like, I also can see a lot long-term value as well. It's more riskier because the liquidation thing, but I was like, I moved all of it into my veve NFTs. So now all my Omi is into veve.
Okay. So as long as you got some grails, that's good. You know, get buying a lot of those. You know, you had Logan Paul talking about it. You also had, you know, Omi to gem. You were able to buy Omi with gems, and that really helped. That's what, you know, really pumped it up. I don't think we'll ever get that again, though. I think because people would like play with the market. They're like, okay, I'm going to buy when Omi's down here, and then I'm going to sell the gems when Omi's up here, and you know, try to do stuff. Some
arbitrage opportunities there that kind of ruined it. Because then back then the marketplace was down for 3 months. I remember I was selling some of my stuff on eBay. I was selling all my. I've just still got screenshots of me like sending to my friends. Look, I just sold this like I think it was like Ultraman back then. I was selling like a shit because I bought a lot of them and I was selling them for like I think only like 4 or 5x profit back then, which is still amazing. But I remember the marketplace didn't even exist. So then people think that like now it's FUD. I was like, dude, you should have been there when there was no marketplace. Then there was like 10,000 of us, 15,000 of us on the app. Like no content anywhere. Like I'm literally getting my information off Reddit.
It like drop like once a month. Like
it dropped once a month. Exactly. Like, are these guys even going to be around? Like, and they only had 4 things on there. You didn't really understand who David Yu and them had only done like a few podcasts. Like that was peak FUD. It's like living through that gives you some perspective.
I mean, we also had a bear market for Bitcoin. Bitcoin went down from here to down here in
Exactly.
2018. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of rough stuff.
It was
Um,
crazy. Yeah.
this is why I'm so bullish. I mean, last time they had no funding, and now they're very
Mm.
well funded.
Yeah. And
Have you taken a look at the gem count? How much has been bought? How much has been spent?
no, I haven't. I haven't looked into all this stuff. Honestly, I've just been doing my content and helping this festival do their thing. That I haven't really been too into what's like every day what's been happening. But what's been happening?
So they've had a total of I think 338 million gems that were bought, like from the store, not
Mm.
including people trading gems back and forth for half off, and over 209 million were spent in the app. Yeah, like
Really?
to the store. So yeah, they have a so they've had over $200 million go to them. There's still like 120 something million that are still in the app that are
Mm.
still there, just chilling, waiting for something. Probably Star Wars. Hopefully, we get like a Vader. That'd
Mm.
be nuts. And
Mm.
but yeah, so I asked David, if he had any, um, if they had any plans of doing a cap raise, like using some of the funds that they have, and be like, okay, now. And he said they won't yet. They will when like the time is right. So clearly, they don't need any money right now.
Mm.
But when they do, they're going to go for something. I don't know. I
Really?
don't know what, but um,
Yeah.
uh,
Do you have any predictions on like? Do you have any?
I think they're going to buy another company. Like I think they would buy like maybe like Pixion Games. So
Mm.
Pixion Games, the CEO from there, is a really good friend of David Yu, and he's on the
Okay.
board of Ecomi. And they
Mm.
just announced a game. I did a video on it yesterday called Fableborn, and we were supposed to have 3 games in the Ecomi sphere that's supposed to burn Omi. We have Fish
Mm.
that's
Mm.
starting burning Omi. I think like either this week or next week.
Mm.
And then you have Epico Regal, which is like a Clash Royale type of game.
Mm.
And the third one's not announced, but a guy that sits on Komi's board, is David's like really good friend, just announced a game
Mm.
called Fableborn, and it's a
Mm.
play to own game. So you play it and
Mm.
you get NFTs for playing.
Mm.
It just makes sense that it would be that. Um,
Mm.
so there's a lot of
True.
utility coming.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's the thing. We're so early. We don't know. Like, I don't know. I always thought that like weren't they having weekly discussions with Apple as well? Is that what he said in
Yeah.
one of his? Yeah, and like, what does that entail? Like, what are they talking about there as well? Like, is it like?
So we don't know that. We think that a good amount of that was just them trying to negotiate that Apple fee. Every time a dollar gets put in,
Yes.
Apple gets 30%.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think Apple knew long term that okay, well, that 30% fee is going to be gone once they roll that web app
Well,
out,
yeah.
which they just had another round of web app users being invited like 2 days
Mm.
ago,
Mm.
and I think they're going to have a I think we're going to be one of the only products that's going to be able to be working on the Apple AR glasses.
Yeah.
I just
That's what I was
yeah
thinking. I was thinking AR. That's what I was thinking when they were talking.
yeah I just wrote about it real quick, or somebody just wrote about it saying that there's a guy named Sadly Bradley, and he goes on and he's really big into the metaverse, and he's been talking about nothing but Apple AR glasses.
Mm.
And because Vive's been in talks with them for a while, and there's been
Mm.
a couple of leaks about the manufacturers giving predictions, and they give a clear view that Samsung, Facebook, Apple, and Valve are all working on the next gen AR VR devices
Yeah.
to make it like way more comfortable. And
Yeah.
when Apple launches their next device, they have a super selling 3D platform, which is veve. So it would
Mm.
make sense that all the stuff would be drivable. Like how many cars do we have on there? And
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly that. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I was saying at the beginning of this, that like if people all you have to do is Google AR and then type in a company, you can see there's an arms race happening right now for all these companies trying to get the first mass adopted like AR VR glasses or whatever.
yeah,
That's like more like there's all those big clunky ones now, but I think they also want ones that can just be like more normal looking and may not have to be virtual reality, but like have some augmented reality features like when you're driving, it just shows you on like to turn left. It can be an arrow, or like if you're sitting here, it might just have an extra screen above you. But that's kind of like the next step of where we're going. And everyone, if they want it to happen, it's going to happen. Like these big companies have the money. They're the biggest companies in the world. Like no matter how much like retail buyers or retail people say, we don't want that. Like humans need to be physically here. Like I agree. Like there is some like sadness in that, but like I don't like if you don't embrace it or like take this opportunity and realize that's where the world's going. You just got to embrace it and like take the time, maybe an hour to a day to go outside or whatever. But you can't stop. So we're going to end up being like a grandparents. So like, I don't know how to use my phone. Can you show me how to use my laptop? That's what we'll end up being like. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, because we make fun of them. We're like, oh, we don't make fun of them, but we look at them like, how did they get to that stage where they literally can't rely? They have to like get their grandson or something to do it for them. Like, and you think, like, I always think perspective, like, am I going to be like that? Like in the future, is there going to be technology out that will be so like, I just won't be able to use it. I'm like, no, I won't, because like I can use all this stuff. But then I realized my first interaction with like using a MetaMask and that's when the first time I ever said in my brain, like, this is too hard, I'm going to stop. And then I stopped myself in that moment. I was like, no. This is where our grandparents probably were with the computers, and you got to push through it, because like I can see this being very hard for us when we're 50 or whatever that haven't embraced it now.
Easily. Like there's a bunch of things that like, and this is why veve will be so successful, because you have you don't need to know how to have a MetaMask and wrap Ethereum and send it to OpenSea. You could just do whatever. Like have you seen Todd McFarlane's new NFT that's on sale today?
No.
So he's got he's a creator of Spawn as well, like the artist.
Yeah.
So he has a drawing of Spawn going on something called oddkey.com.
Oddkey, yes, I've heard of that. Yeah.
But you need like a phantom wallet or something and like there's no way anyone's grandma is going to figure that out. There's 0% chance. Yeah. So like a lot of these other things, I like what they're doing, but it's just it's not easy for some people to do that.
And exactly, and that's just, I believe it's because we're so early. There's some people that like I've been speaking to that have products now where use a credit cards. And then so when you go, if you want to buy an NFT, you go on their website, use a credit card, you buy it, and in the background, the credit card is there. It goes and it actually trades Ethereum in the background for you, so you don't have to do it. And then that's how much money that's getting taken out. But it also creates a wallet for you in the background as well. So like it does both of it in one button. And I think that's where it's going to end up being, is that it'll be like people can use credit card, or if you are crypto savvy, you can use your wallet. But if you don't, then it'll create a wallet for you on the spot. So in that way, it's still the same interaction where you just click buy it, you get it, but in the background you don't know what's happening, and it becomes more seamless, which is, I guess, is what happening with veve in a way as well. Like they've got a wallet somewhere, with a custodial wallet that they're kind of storing our stuff on there. But I think that's where it's going to go, or there's going to be one wallet that'll just go across all blockchains, and then we won't know that we're kind of using it, but it's just there in the background. Yeah. So Ecomi, I think, might come out with something like that as well, because they just had an interview that. The interview was like from 2018, so it was a long time ago. But that interview was delisted from YouTube. Like the guy Lark Davis, who was Lark Davis, yes.
So
I think I saw this. Did you upload it? Someone uploaded about.
I posted a video, 2 videos of it yesterday.
Yeah.
And Cavell Anderson, I think, did a video about it. But there was a if you like last year when I was really into this. And every time, Lark Davis would go and mention Ecomi or Omi, I would be like, okay, guys, here's what you do. You search for the video, and so I would be Googling, I would be searching Lark Davis Ecomi, like pretty much every week, last year. And that video wasn't there. That video was, you could, it just wasn't there. Like if there was I watched every single interview that David and Dan had ever done, and I had not seen that. So it must have just got relisted on YouTube recently. And I think the only way that happens is if David and Dan say, "Hey, Lark, you can release that interview you did a few years ago that we told you to take down." I have no confirmation of that, but that's something I would have seen, and it's just making the rounds recently. So but they were going and they were saying that we would want to have a credit card that has that does that type of transaction in the background, like they're doing something what BlockFi does. They say, "Oh, you get like 4% back," and then that same credit card will also have like AR capabilities. Like it's nuts.
Really?
So again, this was 4 years ago, so maybe out of that whole video, that's one thing that they abandoned, that they decide, it's too much money. But if not, I mean, it makes sense that most of those things that was in that video are going to come to fruition, and they're just giving us little trinkets here and there.
Trinkets here and there, yeah, for sure. I mean, they got the money now as well. Like, they've got a community, and that's the biggest thing about veve, is that people don't realize. Like, I think veve's community is probably bigger than all these other NFT communities, because the NFT communities are limited to 10,000.
Yes.
Whereas like hardcore veve people, I think that he's probably more. There's definitely more. There's like, I'd say at least 50 to 100,000 very hardcore people minimum, being very conservative. and that's a huge thing in this space. Like that's why I think 95% of the OpenSea NFTs won't last. Like, and I'm very open about that. That's why I'm very like, I believe in Artifact because it's backed by Nike, but unless you're like Azuki, for example, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the Azuki stuff, but they were like top 3 in the OpenSea world, like up until last week, where it came out their founder. And again, I'm not trying to take both sides here, but apparently the founder was part of 3 other rug pull projects. So then the price went from 30 Ethereum down to 6 in the span of a week. Now it's back up to 12, 12 or 14, but I'm still like and now I don't think, because I'm huge on history. This same thing's happened with only one, which is another project that was kind of labeled as blue chip probably a year ago. Same with the Mechaverse, like so hyped, the team, all that type of stuff, but then they did something wrong and they had like a team that the community turned against. And if you have someone like that weighing the team down, like a founder like that, I don't think they have. I think they might last for longer, but like in the history, these other projects that I've had similar run, Pudgy Penguins is another one. The team ran through all their money. It's changed hand four times, and they were literally the top 2 at one stage, OpenSea collections, and now they've never recovered. It's like that's the risk with these OpenSea NFTs, is that half of these founders are anonymous. Like, you don't know who they are, and it's like you're really going to have like long-term faith in these. Like, again, some of them might come out, but like the reality is that these are businesses and most of them will fail. I use the same thing. 95% of businesses fail in the first 3 years. I kind of use that the same mentality with these NFT projects.
Yeah, so you have a lot of people that have like PTSD from other rug pulls, and unfortunately, projects like Ecomi or Earth 2 will get that. Like Earth 2, I was getting so much hate for promoting that, and it's a great project. You know, they just bought the drone video game. They're about to be listed on Binance next quarter, and you know, you get that with veve too, especially because you had that one bad actor that was a part of both of these things that are no longer associated with them.
Yes.
But yeah, I think some people just have that. It's really hard to trust, especially when you have like something like Terra Luna, which is like the number 6 crypto in the world, that just went to pretty much to zero. So yeah, it's hard to trust. But I think, you know, maybe I'm a little naive or a little optimistic here, where you have people like, let's say, like Brock McBlockchain. Do you know of him?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
And are you in Fish? Do you have a Fish?
No, I don't know.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's like,
is it?
I know you don't have a lot of time right now. When you do get one, like the lore is really cool. You get a bunch of airdrops, and you know you're about to be able to basically gamble. You're about to I'm gonna bet $1 million Omi. Somebody else bets $1 million Omi. If you win, you get 1.8 million Omi. So
okay, cool. Is that how it works? Is that like more of like a gambling ecosystem?
It's about to be. You know,
okay. It's just
if you don't want to, like, it's just you get an NFT that, you know, it's a fish. It swims, and you can open up portals. Other fish can visit your tank. So you only buy the fish, and you get everything else for free. It's like, you know, and he has every right to go and say like, hey, I'm gonna charge you, you know, like $5 for a tank, or, you know, $10 for whatever. But it doesn't. Like, everything's just given. And so it's like for free, and he's not taking profit on the Omi wagering. It's half of it's going to the burn wallet, which is nuts.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
cool. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that because I don't know much about that at all.
Yeah, just go to like fishes.com, and you can mint one there. It's like beautiful. Like it's
how do you spell fishes? Is it
FEESH?
Okay, cool. I'll check that out after.
Yeah. So that's really legit. I've had him on the podcast a couple times, and that's been pretty fun.
He's been awesome. Cool. Yeah, I'll check this out. And I've never heard of this before, but I like that concept. It's different than what everyone else is doing. The only thing about the NFT space now is that I love hearing new things that people are trying to innovate in. Most of these projects coming out now are just like copy paste of each other on the OpenSea side anyway, not veve, which is also not helping the whole fact that, like, if you're just going to copy everyone, you're not trying to innovate, then what's going to separate you from everyone else? I was like, that's interesting, that concept. So I'll check that out.
Yeah. So I like as far as I think they're very innovative, like, you know, just getting all the IP that they got. And I also think that they're not building their veveverse. I think that based on Reese's comments with the Kill Patterson, he was on his podcast, and he said that, you know, we have to pay for the veveverse. And to me, that says that they're paying another company to build it. And if they have, again, they just made like $200 million over the last year and a half. Now, a good 50% of that's probably going, to Apple and Google and licensors and other stuff. So, let's say you have even 100, let's say you have an extra 50 million after everything. Okay, you could probably pay people to go and I think they'd get like Square Enix or like Capcom or something to build it. Just take like a small, couple $1 billion company. I think that'd be legit.
Yeah, and what do you think about like the Disney metaverses being made as well, like with the Disney NFT, like if veve NFTs were to come off the app as well, like interacting with the Disney? What do you think about that? Because you probably listen to more of the podcast recently than I've been. I've just been so busy. I used to listen to these podcasts every day, but I'm kind of out of the loop in the last few months.
Yeah, no, it makes sense that you'd be able to go and take some, like, I don't know if you've been to in like Harry Potter World in Florida. There you go into I think like Diagon Alley, and then or you're in Hogsmeade and you take the train to Diagon Alley, and the train's like its own ride. And what I think they might do is say like, okay, if you have Disney NFTs, you're able to get on this ride. Like that's your ticket, and the ticket takes you to the Disneyverse.
Yeah, got you.
So although they did say that their metaverse Disneyverse would be more AR than anything. Like it would be like included like with the park, which is
I can see that. That's a smart though, because then I think AR would be easier to do VR anyway, and plus it makes people want to visit their park more if there's all these another world layered over their current world. Like that'd be huge for sure. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like what happens if like you said like you have a Disney NFT and then you like enter and you just prove that that's like a ticket as well. Because like tying it all back, what I'm doing with this festival is that we're making NFTs that are tickets to enter. And I'm not sure if you've been keeping up with the NBA or NFL, but NBA, I think the Golden State Warriors game a few weeks or months ago, they had the first ever responsive NFT. So I think how it works is that you bought this NFT before you went into the game, and there was a list of things you could win, but you wouldn't know what you got until you entered. So as you sat down in your seat and you had the NFT, you'd bring up I don't know if it was an app or something, and then it would show you had this NFT, and then it would like responsively change and say, oh, you've won upgraded seats to sit up the front now, like right in front seat, or you won like all this free merch, or you won signed basketball or signed jersey. I think that's the future of like, that's why I'm helping this festival out, because it's like, and Coachella did it as well. So this is a music festival. We're kind of using all that and taking all we can know to be able to use these NFTs to be able to also enter a festival. But it's also a PFP, that's an online identity that also is limited edition, and it has like all these extra. It's like just another level of the experience. It increases the experience for people attending these major ticketed events, which Disneyland would be under the same umbrella, which I can see the way they're going as well. It just increased people, like you just have a ticket, just go in, like that's all you need. But it's like, no, these events want people to come in, and if they can increase that experience by say, hey, if you got this NFT, you can do this, or this NFT gives you virtual augmented reality capabilities throughout here, then it's like another experience that people will pay for. And these companies want money, so they're going to use this technology to try and create more money throughout their events that they have. So that's what ties back into what I'm trying to help with this festival do as well, which is help them integrate NFTs to the ticketing. But that's how I can see these Disney NFTs going as well. It have to make sense money-wise for them, because right now it's on veve, but like I can see the only way that money-wise is that through the secondhand royalties, they make these so valuable that they're just constantly getting royalties in the background by giving them utility in the park.
Yeah, that's what Planet Vampire is saying. Like, if that's their incentive to make interoperability and to raise the price of these NFTs. The higher the price, the more that 6% adds up after a while.
Exactly.
Going from they were trading for 50,000 gems at one point, and they're getting 6% of that, which is not bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think if they go and they say, hey, everyone that has a Walt, will once a quarter be allowed to come to Disney, and you'll be in a special part of the park, for a fireworks show or something like that, or you get like a certain amount % off on a ticket or a fast pass. So they're still, making money, just not as much. That would be easier just to get them in the park, as opposed to saying you get 10% off on everything. Like just get them in there.
It is. It's more effective, I feel, like a marketing stance than saying you get 10% off on this, this, and this. Is that you give it to them secondhand, be like, your NFT does this, and really that gives a value, and it's like a secondhand value that people don't realize, but it's also a secondhand sales method that they can use with, which never really been done before until NFTs have been made. We have that smart contract capability of getting that royalty function, which is, again, these marketers are probably, I guarantee you, for the last year, they're just sitting there like coming up with all these plans in these big businesses. How can we create a plan where these consumers don't realize that like they're trading these things and they're actually giving us money, but we're giving them value in return? Because I feel like that's where the future is going with all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they have something in Harry Potter world where, if you get a wand, you can wave your wand at something, and like the remote in the wand interacts with something on there, and you can have like I don't know, like raise a bucket, or you can do whatever. If they have that with like these NFTs saying like, hey, there's some games in AR that you can play only if you have these NFTs, that's going to incentivize people to, I think, for the rentability as well. Be able to go and say, hey, I have a bunch of these. I don't need all of them. I only need one, and rent them out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't even think of that as well. The Harry Potter thing.
Yeah. Do you have any? Do you have a partner statue or any golden moments?
Yeah, this is people got angry at me for this because after that golden moments video you saw on TikTok, I got 3 rebounds off the first 3 drops. So I got 3, 4, 3 or something. So I have like 3 Homer and Barts.
That's amazing.
I've got like 3 Elsas and a hat, all for $60. So I was cheering after, and I did a TikTok video on that, and everyone was just hating on me, like, use a bot. I was like, dude, and I don't use bots. Like, like my community, I can't preach to them that I'm getting these things. And if I was to use a bot, that's so like unethical for me. So I was trying to teach them. I was like, guys, instead of like getting angry at me, let me just teach you how to do a rebound. And I was like trying to teach them. So then I did videos on rebounds, and everyone's like, okay, thank you for trying to show me this. But yeah, I have like, I think 8. I have an Iron Man as well. I don't have this partner statue. I missed that drop, unfortunately. But I have like about 8 or 9 Disney moments, or 10 maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, from the rebounds. Do you have any?
Yeah, I just got a partners recently. I have both duos set. The one with Winnie the Pooh and Timon Pumbaa. I have the other set with Lady and the Tramp and the Ducks. And then I have one Elsa. I'm gonna get the hat. I probably want to get the Star Wars set before I get the hat, though. I feel like that. Yeah. Like,
I think
R2's a grail, man.
Yeah, he's a grail, man. He's
top
huge.
8 tier.
Yeah, I agree. I missed out on that one. I'm pissed I missed that. I didn't get that drop, but I'm happy with the others anyway.
Do you watch any of the stuff on Disney Plus, like Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett?
I haven't watched any Star Wars stuff. My dad's really into that. I'm more into like the Marvel. But I've watched I just finished watching WandaVision before I watched Doctor Strange, and that one was cool. I still love Loki the best, though, to be honest. I think Loki out of those are the best.
Out of my like 390 NFTs, more than half are alligator Lokis.
Really?
Yeah.
These alligators.
I have 196 common. I have 34 ultra rare. Yeah, really? and I have 17 secret rare. So,
holy shit!
So I have this thing where like a bunch of people. I didn't even plan it. I was just like, I'm just gonna go ham on Lokis, and then a bunch of people messaged me like, I'm gonna go ham on Lokis too. So because I said like I wasn't gonna sell. So now there is, I think, 15% of the secret rare supply is locked up. Like it's with people that won't sell.
Just don't sell it. Really?
Yeah,
that's crazy. And then again, there's that aspect as well that people don't realize, is that once you have like a cult following for even a collectible or a set, and then you around the world, like say for example, you and these alligator Loki like guys or girls are like this for like the next 3 years. That's solid. Like you guys, and that becomes like a thing within the community. Like say veve becomes a household name. Like he's part of that alligator Loki group that started back in 2021. Like they just never sell, dude. Like they're crazy. You know what I mean? Like they're like that's another thing as well that can happen with veve and these NFTs, because they're scarce. Like compared to all these other NFTs out there, they're gonna keep creating more, but the first appearances are super scarce. You can only have a certain amount of them, and people want the first appearance.
Yeah, there's only 800 of the secret rare. So I was like, okay, it's a small amount. It's the only Marvel secret rare that's less than 1,000, I think. Yeah. And once we get Omi to NFT, I'm gonna go crazy. It was so much. Yeah. I'm gonna have to like limit myself. Yeah. But
what's your lowest mint NFT that you have? On veve.
That's probably a Loki. Okay. I had number like 43 secret rare Captain America. Shit. I sold that for Omi though. I had a number like
Yeah.
40, 43 or 42 Secret Rare Storm as well. Sold her for Omi. So I sold a lot of
Shit.
stuff for Omi.
Yeah.
But it's probably gonna be a Loki. That what I have is probably in
Yeah.
the 40s.
Yeah. Did you get
But
that off drop or did you buy it?
no,
Off
I bought all mine. The
because were you around in those days where the numbers would come out chronologically? Because you know how it's randomized, but right at the beginning, they were like,
I
"So
was.
I've got this gelatina that's like a 70 or something like that." But back in the day, I don't know,
Oh,
you can't see it,
sweet.
but I did that drop, and back in those days, the drops, and I think I also got like a number 100 Supergirl. It was based
Ooh,
upon who clicked the button first. And then they changed that only actually a while ago. They changed that, but for a long time it was if you were the first, you got number one, or not number one, but like 50 or whatever.
41.
Yeah, yeah, or 41 or whatever. But then they changed that because of the bots and stuff like that, which is a good thing. But like we've
Yeah.
seen so much of this space go like crazy. Like back then, it used to be like that. It was a completely different ball game. They only had one type of drop. Now we got blind boxes. Now we got three types of different drops. Like back then, it was just you go in, you click which one you want, and you go for it. There wasn't even any
Yeah.
there was no like gates. So you know how like they have all those the gate strategies and stuff like that. That
Yeah, there's no
VV Vault
clock
does.
either.
No
Yeah.
clock gate. Yeah, there was nothing like that back in the day. It was literally just free for all. I'd just sit there and just like click the button at like 2
Wild
a.m. in the
times,
morning.
man.
Literally.
Have you
I know.
seen the guys with like they'll put their phone on like the counter and they'll have a massage gun in one hand
Yes.
and they're like,
Yes.
"Ah."
Yes. Yes. I've seen them as well. They're so good.
That's so
That's so
crazy.
funny. Yeah.
Um, I love all those. So I have a small amount of utility given to the Secret Alligator Loki. Saying everyone that has one when I go to Florida, I'll pay for their ticket to like Disney or their
Oh,
ticket to
really?
Harry Potter World. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that until Omi Moon's a little bit, and I can
Yeah.
afford
Yeah.
that. That would be a
Yeah.
little much.
Yeah.
And then did you see what they're doing with the Golden Dragon?
No.
This guy Squid Cat on Twitter is just like, I love the Golden Dragon, and anyone that stakes or lists their Golden Dragon for 88,000 gems is gonna share in this pool of 120,000 Omi on the 20th of
Really?
every month. So on the 20th of every
Really?
month, yeah. So there's like 60 of them that are staked right now that are listed for
Shit.
88,000. So
Yeah.
right now they're all gonna get like 2,000 Omi. It's like not a lot.
Mm. Mm.
You know, it's like a couple bucks, but
Mm.
you know, in the future when Omi's like 50 cents or $1, it's like, oh hey,
Mm.
and I don't know how long he's gonna be doing this for, but I want to do
Mm.
something like that for a collectible.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted me to do it with Loki because that's my guy. So I might
Mm.
have to, but I might
Mm.
pick like a random one, you know, see what
Yeah,
happens.
but exactly, and that's what makes this so like again, but the virality of it, like I said, like you can prove you own it through the blockchain. Like I don't know, I've never really heard. Oh, you probably can prove it actually with your Pokemon cards and stuff like that. But I feel like because it's on the internet and you can kind of see, and eventually when we can visit each other's vaults and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
that concept where you guys are kind of introducing now, which I've never heard of before until you told me today. That like you're kind of creating mini communities within each collectible. That's
yeah,
I can see that being a thing for sure.
yeah. Community is nuts, and Viviverse will be launched this year, so you should be. I mean, you'll have your. It's basically an updated showroom that you'll probably get,
Mm,
but it'll be in the ether inside the VVverse, and you
mm,
should be able to give someone like a code or like coordinates, and they could be able to go visit your vault.
mm.
And I think outside of that, you should be able to walk around the VVverse. Maybe not. There's
Mm,
not going to be a land sale until next year. Which
yeah.
are you bullish on land?
Oh, is there VV Land happening? Do you
Yeah,
think in the
it'll be next.
VVverse?
Yeah,
Oh,
probably
okay.
next year.
Interesting. No, I haven't even really thought about that to be honest.
Yeah, they're like
Yeah,
in their VVverse. They're gonna have land for sale, and
yeah.
it's gonna be nuts. Like,
Because I knew
yeah,
we'd have houses and stuff in there. Because I remember them saying in like podcasts that they would like you could go visit, take your DeLorean to someone else's house and stuff. But I didn't know in what aspect. Do you own the house? Like, did you just you get given like a plot if you're like? It'd be cool if like season one people got some, or at least like a badge that showed. I think they're kind of doing that with the showrooms right now. We have like a season one showroom, but it'd be
yeah.
cool as well to be able to be like
MCP points. You'll have that.
MCP
Um,
point. Yeah.
you'll have the badges. So I don't. What I would really like is if they didn't give you a house or you had the option, like
To
you
have a
could
house.
buy the
Yeah.
house if you wanted. Because
Yeah.
I want to buy land in the middle of nowhere, and I want to make like a racetrack. Like they're probably going to
Mm,
have a racing game at some point, but I
mm,
want land where you know there's no house. That I just want like alligator Loki's just coming at you left and right, just hissing at you.
Yeah.
You know, maybe have like, you know, if we get like Planet of the Apes or something, like chimpanzees in the trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think that would be great to make that an additional cost. Like if you want to have a 5-story house, like there's going to be wars of people saying, I've got the tallest house of like, you know, 12 stories, and maybe like air rights, because if the Star Trek NFTs, the James Bond NFTs can fly, maybe they can't build over a certain amount unless they buy the air rights, because the jets have to keep flying in. So there's a lot of big things I've been thinking of, which I don't know if they'll do any of them, but
yeah, no, that's that. I like, again, I haven't even thought that far, to be honest. Like that's again another thing that I haven't really thought about, but it'd be cool to see that for sure. They're like it's the possibilities are kind of endless with what they want to do with these metaverses, because it's essentially creating your own world, creating your own rules and stuff. So I'm sure they'll get some community feedback as well. They're quite good with that. They've changed a few things around just based on what the community says. So I'm sure the decisions they make will be at least satisfy most of the people in the community.
Yeah. Some other projects that you're looking at, like, do you have any Immutable X tokens, or are you just buying Ethereum? What are the things
I just have a lot of veve NFTs, and then I have a lot of Ethereum. No Bitcoin at the moment, and mainly just like NFTs in OpenSea as well. So I'm kind of doubling down, because I do a lot of flipping on OpenSea. So essentially, like, I'm turning like a few Ethereum into like more Ethereum. So it's essentially Ethereum that I'm just like doubling down on. That's what I'm mostly exposed to. I do like the layer 2 solutions like Immutable X and Polygon and stuff like that as well. I think there's a huge future for them. I just haven't had the time to really like dive into that crypto market specifically itself since for a few months now. I've just been really just NFT, trying to build my platform in the NFT space and learn as much as I can in the NFT space, and essentially try to consult as well, because like I believe every company in the world, the big ones, already doing it. Like Adidas already have the NFTs. Nike bought out an NFT company. Coachella's done NFTs. Like NBA, NFL, they've all done it. I believe that like all across the world, every single company will need to integrate NFTs or they'll get left behind. So I'm trying to like also, I do believe I have the knowledge now, because I've just been in the space for so long. I help consult some other projects on OpenSea, with just like marketing decisions, etc. But also like I also want to build out of like just being like this, having this page, but also being like helping these companies in Australia, like our version of like Coachella, our version of like Walmart that you guys have there, like kind of help them eventually build like a portfolio in that space, because that's where I believe this is going as well. And there's opportunity for everyone in this space now, that if you've been in this space for like 6 months or more, you have more knowledge than 99% of the world. That's what I realized when I was making my page. I was like, holy shit, like no one knows about all this stuff, but I was just doing it every day, so I didn't realize I'm kind of teaching myself. I'm learning marketing strategies. I'm learning like even veve's marketing strategies, how they use that guy Jeremy Padawa to use their like everything's tactical what they do. People don't realize NBA Top Shots like kind of died, and veve's doing it a better way, because like they're kind of stagnating it. They're really making sure that the supply is there, so it ensures the demand is going to last long term rather than die out like NBA Top Shots. So like I'm more of like, I also want to build a name of myself in this space so that I can help consult companies.
Yeah, same. Jeremy Padawer is going to go to VCon. I'm going to see if I can get a conversation with him. He's probably going to be
That'd be
crowded with
awesome.
people. Yeah. There's
That'd
so,
be so
there's
cool.
people in there that are going that I would have, like Mila Kunis is into NFTs. Didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no, they did do it. She did a project called the Something Cats. It was like the first ever TV series where the cats were like NFTs as well. So that was like a year and a bit ago. Yeah. So
Okay. Yeah.
and
That's
Ashton
great.
Kutcher as well.
Oh, I'd imagine, because they're married, right?
Yeah. So they're both doing it together. Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. I wonder if he'll be going. I feel like they would have put him on, but she's speaking. Maybe he's going and he's just not speaking.
He's speaking. True. That's cool.
Yeah, everyone, they have like the speakers on there on like a thing. So you know, Snoop Dogg is like the main one. TLC's performing, which is interesting.
Really?
Yeah, so it's good. I can't wait. I'm super pumped about it.
I wish I could go. I have one of my mates from New Zealand actually flying there. He's there now. I was speaking to him as well. Like he was one of the first people to buy the VeFriends NFTs, and he's just gone over. He's like, I'm just going. So I was like, good on you, dude. Like you got to tell me everything that happens there if you meet anyone cool. So
tell him to look up the real Randy Chavez.
Yeah, no, I'll let him know. I'll have to talk to him about veve. I spoke to him about it. He didn't really know much about it, but I'll let him know.
I have I have these people that are like sponsoring me to go. Like they
really?
bought, Yeah, like they bought the VCon ticket. I just got it transferred today, and they have a what do you call it? They got a hotel room that they're giving me,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
they email it, like, I guess one, I don't know how good the connection is, but one of them has they know Gary Vee, like, personally, like, so I don't know if it's something where they went and just had a quick phone call one day, and or if they're like friends with them. But
Mm.
yeah, so I don't know if I could get like a dinner with them or something.
Holy
I'm,
shit.
yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens. I'm gonna try to go live like the whole time. I'm like, all right, guys,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
um,
100%.
I'll have no voice left. But yeah, that'll be fun.
That's crazy. So you got sponsored to go over there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine that the connections you're making in Australia is probably something similar, like being able to set up
Yeah.
everything for their, what
Yeah.
is, you said virtual concert, right? NFT concert.
No, it's an actual music festival, but
Yeah.
they want to just have like they just want to trial NFT tickets this year, kind of like what Coachella did, where these tickets aren't just like they're not all physical. There's like 1,000, a short supply of them that people can use as NFTs. They use the NFT, they go to the gate and they're like, "This is my NFT." It has like a QR code attached to it, and then they enter. So
Yeah.
that's what they kind of do, yeah. So I'm kind of building it like you meet people through having you doing the podcast and stuff like that as well. You meet a
Yeah.
lot of people in the space, which is handy.
Yeah, that's been great. Did you get a bat cow?
No, I didn't actually get a back count mainly because I thought the supply was so big. It was 200, it was 300,000 or 200,000. But
Yeah, it's
when I
200.
saw that only 11,000 got bought out, correct me if I'm wrong, I was like, I would have actually bought it if I knew the cap supply would have been 11,000.
Yeah.
Because I have a few of
And
those ones on there. I have like the Matrix ones. I have the Space Jam ones back in the day.
oh, cool.
Yeah, and I have a few of them. But yeah, I just have and I have a lot of Batman anyway. I've got the first ever Batman NFT, and I've got like a few of the first season ones, etc. So I was like, oh, this supply is so high, I could probably miss this one. But if I knew it was the low supply, I would have definitely bought one.
Yeah, and only like 2,500 people have one. Like some of them just minted like a bunch.
Oh
Uh,
shit,
yeah,
really?
it's an average of like 6 or like 5.5 per person. Because some people were going crazy, and
Wow.
yeah, so it's really crazy how some people have like 10 or 20 or something.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's good for them that the supply is only 11,000 then. Because
Yeah,
if they keep on, the only thing with these, I mean, Matrix NFTs, they said they're going to give them a lot of utility and stuff. And I don't know, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket for these companies to give a lot of utility. Like that's why, like historically, you can't ever replace the first of. So like I'm just very like just playing it super safe to be honest. Like that's why like even if they don't give Todd any utility, like you can never replace like Charizard First Edition doesn't have any utility, but it's because it's so historically significant.
yeah,
You don't really need to bank on having any utility. That's kind of the same mentality, collector's mentality that I've been using with these NFTs as well.
yeah. I think, well, for Pokemon cards anyway, short-term utility sometimes can kind of hurt because you have like Charizard's not really playable that much. But first edition Hitmonchan's a basic Pokemon with 70 health, 1 energy, and you jab. So a lot of him were played. So there's not that many of him around. So short term, he was really hard to get, and that kind of hurt him. But now long term, he's so valuable because there's so few of them. PSA 10, but they're all played with.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah, that's good perspective actually.
Yeah. So we went over a little bit before. You're not an Earth 2 yet, right? You haven't.
No, I've seen that pop up every now and again, but can you fill me in with yeah, can you fill me in what they're doing? Is that what is
Sure.
Hello K in Earth 2 as well?
No, I don't think so. I think Non-Fungible Wonderful is, and
Non-Fungible
I think he's like the only other BV person in there. So I think me and this guy Earth 2 Mastery were the only people that crossed over from Earth 2 to I think Earth 2 Mastery did Omi videos well before I did.
I do know. So is this Earth 2? Is this Earth 2 Mastery's project? Is it? Or
Yeah, like so that's not his project. He just he covered it along with me and this guy Arya Realty. Arya Realty does some Omi videos every now and then also. And what we did is basically they partnered with Mapbox and they made a 1-to-1 map of Earth. Like they put it into 10 meters by 10 meter tiles. They're squares. And you could buy whatever you want. And here's where I messed up. I was buying. It started in like November of 2020. I got it in December of 2020. The tiles started at 10 cents per tile, and
Oh.
already America was like $1.25. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get tiles in like, Brazil and India and like places on the water and stuff like that. And because they were still 10 cents a tile, and America was like $1.25. So I could have bought at the time, I think, like Wall Street for like $500, or like Statue of Liberty, whatever. And my friend Arya Realty got Wall Street for like $500, sold it for like 10 grand, and then I started realizing, like all of these significant places, like the pyramids of Giza, sold for tens of thousands. The Statue of Liberty sold for like 65,000. The White House sold for like 50-something thousand. So if I would have gone like with location, like on these historical spots, and that's why I'm not going to mess with Viviverse. Like some of the people that sold Bitcoin too early, I'm hodling, and I'm going to get that prime real estate.
Interesting. So Earth 2 is like essentially a metaverse. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's the biggest one.
It's the biggest one. Okay. I didn't know. I've seen it pop up every now and again, but I've never clicked into it. But I know Earth 2 Mastery. He was one of the OGs as well back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember watching his videos, and so he's into it as well.
Yeah, I would talk to it with him. I was like, hey, that's how I got into Omi as well, because Earth 2 was teasing that their crypto was going to be on GoChain, because they were talks with that bad actor from GoChain who was kind of messing with Ecomi and Earth 2. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I need to look for a crypto on the GoChain that's really cheap. There's a lot of them, and I found Omi, and I was like, okay. So I found veve just by accident. It's through Omi.
Through all that, yeah.
And then now Earth 2 is they're on Polygon, so that'll be interesting. Their crypto, which is called Essence, goes live in like Q3. Like you can get Essence now by playing the game. So I have like 35,000 Essence, and when it goes live like next quarter, there's probably only going to be 200 million in circulating supply. So even if it's just $1 billion market cap, they hired a guy from Binance, so they're probably going to get listed on Binance. That'd be $5 per Essence. So suddenly, if I have $150,000 extra, probably a good third of that's going to go back into Omi and veve.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm checking it out now on Twitter. Yeah, I honestly haven't clicked on this. I've heard about it, everyone, because I think a lot of the veve fam speak about Earth 2. I see it in their statuses. But
I do all the time. Like I try to mention it in every live stream and some videos. Yeah. So we're about to get resource maps like in the next week or so. Like there's oil, there's gold, there's like fresh water. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you're gonna be able to get. It's an engine building game. Like you increase your property, you get more jewels. You put jewels to build up the property, you get more resources. That type of deal. So,
okay, that's interesting. Now I'll give them a follow now and keep up to date with that, because I didn't even realize that. So they're pretty much building like another layer on Earth. That's essentially the concept, isn't it? There's like another, and you can own another layer, a metaverse layer across the Earth, across all these assets.
Yeah, and there's a video game called Drone that they just bought, and they're going to implement it in the game. So
okay,
really excited about it.
Interesting. It sounds like they're kind of creating like a metaverse version of Grand Theft Auto, kind of, where you're like walking. Eventually, you'll be able to walk around and you own certain bits. You can walk into like another version of Earth.
Kinda, yeah. I have a couple of friends that are also in I think it's in Scotland. I don't know if they're in Glasgow, but they own the lake that Loch Ness is supposed to be in. So they own a bunch of that. I was like, oh, you're gonna have such a good time renting out to people and making like these attractions. By the way, guys, the link down to Chavez Topia is down below. I have a megacity in Antarctica, and I'm gonna.
Do you actually?
Yeah. I spent a lot of money in that.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. So what else do you have? You've got some land, you said, in other countries as well.
Yeah, I had some in America, but a lot of it was in Brazil, India, I think South Africa, and then the bulk of my land is in Antarctica.
Antarctica. Well, you can just own all of Antarctica and just be the king of Antarctica.
So the thing is, because it's so huge, I have the biggest megacity in Antarctica, but it takes up like this much of like the whole.
The whole thing. Yeah,
it's such a huge ice block. It's just But yeah, that is mine.
Yeah, he owned that now. Yeah, no, that's cool. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for showing me that.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, so right now, what do you got going on the rest of the night? I want to respect your time. I don't want to keep it too long.
Oh no, yeah. So I've just been pretty much my time now is a lot to do with just this helping this festival with their ticketing, because there's a lot of like with the PFPs you release now on OpenSea, it's just like, hey, you get the PFP, we'll give you like maybe a metaverse in a year, or you get a play to earn game, but there's no like physical. You're not trying to bring it into the physical world and give it physical utility through the PFP. So it's like a lot of the past few weeks and months is trying to figure out like, hey, how are we actually gonna get these things to get into the festival? Because that's a physical location, but you got a digital thing. So it's like trying to figure out how to do that. So it's been a lot of back and forth with the festival owners, bit of pushbacks here and there, and I also have a community that I kind of keep up to date as well in my Discord, where a lot of beginners I bring in through my TikTok. I have like some guides that help them like to avoid the mistakes I made, especially in OpenSea. veve is fine, but you can get rug pulled and you can get scammed so easy through try to go for OpenSea NFTs through every single step of the way. So I also have a community there that we help out.
I think even with projects that have really good intentions and some things just don't work, like the ideas just don't, resonate with people. Yeah. I see that maybe a little bit, and I think they're going to be wildly successful in the future, but recur passes were sold at retail for like $300. Now the recur passes are for like $120, but they've had like a couple of drops. And unfortunately, with Star Trek, a lot of people that were on Star Trek Twitter is like, "It's bad for the environment. Star Trek, you're really messing up here," because they don't know. What are you in recur at all?
No, so that's the thing with these, like, because I lived through veve's fattest FUD days. I lived through it. And I knew, like, I did my hardcore research, like, and I knew when recur came up, and I knew all the problems veve had. I was like, people like recur's gonna kill veve, like veve's dead. I'm like, guys, you have no idea how much, like, every day, literally for about a year, I would wake up stressing it out about veve and research, and from that stress would research even deeper into who the hell even is David Yu, who the hell even is this, what problems did I have in 2017? And I'm like, recur's starting now, and you think they're just gonna come in and destroy everyone? So everyone was like, you need to buy recur pass, you need to buy recur pass. I was like, guys, like, in the end, I'm on historics as well, and in the end, veve has had like 4 or 5 years to build, and you're saying this company that's going to come out. I was like, I just told them, like, competition's good. I'm going to be watching them with a close eye, but like, you don't understand that, like, how much FUD I've lived through with veve as well, through like the startup stage of essentially the app. That these guys are going to have way worse problems. I told them, I was like, they have not as big of a team, not as much experience, all this other stuff. And again, in 5 years' time, it might be different. They might be beating veve, and I said I'll respect that. But I said, just to start off with, like, just understand, guys, that it's not just, hey, it's a new shiny object that people want. And veve was having problems at the time when recur came out with like people not getting drops, and their problems are people not getting drops and that it's selling out too quickly. Like, that's a good problem to have. I know a lot of it was bots and stuff, but like, I could see recur literally happening. What's happening now is that there's all this hype for it, and then they don't really deliver, or the IP isn't as good as veve, and veve has the first, which I'm very conservative. I just want the first. That's all I want. So I was like, I was watching them. I've been watching them. Never bought anything to do with recur, just watching them, because I knew that like something like this would happen, where it would, like, just because I lived through veve, and again, that's no one's lived through it. Like, kind of the first few people on the app and seen the FUD every single day. Marketplace down for 2 months, having to sell on eBay. They only had 5 or 6 collectibles on there, bots, all this stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, I just had perspective there compared to everyone else. So that's how I kind of made that decision. But I mean, you never know. In 5 years' time, recur could be better than veve, and they can like implement. But I just know that in these early stages, they need to build, and they don't have the experience that veve have at the moment.
Yeah, I didn't get their passes either, but I think, like, I don't know if you can take them off the. You could probably put them anywhere, right? You can put them on your MetaMask wallet.
I'm not too sure, actually. Can you do that? Because I haven't bought any, so I don't know, and I haven't done that whole experience.
I've been waiting for something that I like. Like, if they come out with like a good like Hello Kitty one, or a good like Reptar one, I'd totally get one of those.
Yeah,
as long as it's like a 3D one, something that is not just like a JPEG. If it's just a JPEG, I'm just gonna leave it alone. It's like, okay, whatever.
And is that what happened as well? They released like the first few, but they weren't that good quality or something? Or was it?
I think it's just that not a lot of people that are really into college sports are really into the NFTs. Yeah. And the Star Trek one, just, you had all of those like woke people that are just like, oh, these NFTs are, going against everything Picard, stood for. I was like, what?
Oh yeah.
So they all like went beside each other, and it's like, we're gonna stand and not buy these NFTs. Shame on you, Star Trek. And it's like, oh my god, they're trying to
Whoa,
like,
yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah.
So that kind of happened. Yeah. That's crazy. And yeah, and that's the thing as well with these NFTs, like just perspective wise, like because I'm in both sides. If the veve ones were to come off eventually, like these crypto nerds and these crypto millionaires and stuff would actually buy them. But just because they're on like they don't treat them. I went through a whole rabbit hole of like there's people that like treat NFTs as pure. There's purists out there as well that identifies is it on chain, then it's not really pure and it's not an NFT. There's actually different societies within this space of like real purists that are once this comes off, like it'll be more appealing to these other crypto crowd. Because I know now OpenSea people kind of laugh at veve. They're like, "Oh, you guys just own this thing on this app," but
Yeah.
like all it takes is to get that permission to take it off, then it's fine. Like so,
Yeah.
there's that perspective as well that we are literally just exposed to us, not even the crypto side really. It's just more like kind of just Marvel and DC nerds. I wouldn't even say we're kind of crypto savvy people that are in the app that
Yeah.
are hardcore collectors.
I think that there's I think they're waiting for Immutable X to get on and being interoperable with OpenSea before they do that. And what I think is because Coinbase put a lot of money into Immutable X, I think that once they're interoperable with OpenSea, they're going to also open up interoperability with Coinbase NFT, and they're going to like fork and be able to do both. And I think the same thing with GameStop NFT marketplace, and Robinhood just sent out an email as well saying they're going to have their own marketplace for NFTs. So I think there's going to be a lot of places we can sell. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that either. What do you think about is it Hero? Have you bought any of the Hero?
So I looked for them, and they did really, really well. Like when veve went public, Hero was still just building in the background, and you have a lot of the first appearances of some of these people on the blockchain for DC.
Yeah.
And but I couldn't find any of them in Walmart. So what I had to do is I downloaded the app. I put like $50 into the app and just started, because most of the cards there are worth like between $1 and $2. So they're really collectible. You could buy a lot of them for cheap. It's just the other ones that get to like 15, 20, some go for like thousands. But you know, so some people spent like thousands of dollars on the boxes, and they flipped that like 4 or 5 at 10x, you know, some of them.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
because my community is really into that. So like literally my hardcore community in my Discord are just all veve people that are in there every day, like daily. Like they're the most active. And then now they told me to make a Hero channel in there as well, because they're like, that's not as active, but they're getting into that as well now. So I just told them that I haven't had time to really look into it as much, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on it, because like they essentially challenge veve to some aspect as well, and it's good.
Yeah.
Competition is always good. So I just wanted to hear your perspective.
It's great. Like I said, I like that they're very collectible, and they put you can only sell things for minimum of $1. They won't let you go less than that on the app, which I thought was interesting. But I mean, if you wanted to take some of these cards that are first appearance and you want to sell them for less than $1, you can on Immutable X. I think that's stupid, but if you want to. And you can actually use Omi on Immutable X to buy other NFTs, which is cool.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to be really good.
Have you gone into the Discord groups, the Discord channels of like Decentraland or Sandbox?
Not in months. Not in a long time.
They're not that active. Like there's people that are there. Yeah. But veve and Earth 2 destroy that by a long shot.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I had this discussion. I don't know if you heard of Satoshi Island. It's that island in
on Earth 2.
I don't know if it's on Earth 2, but there's this
guy.
There's a
big like on Earth 2. Sorry, go ahead.
Island. Yeah, there's this island where like this group of people are like, it's all over like Hypebeast and stuff. It's blown up. It's on Twitter as well if you check them out. But they're pretty much building like a cryptocurrency island where everything's going to be like a DAO. I don't know if they're going to try and make it a country as well and be like the first, like this. They want to be the capital of cryptocurrency. But it's this island in like the islands where I spoke to him last night, like the owner of that, or like part of the team. Like, I don't know if it was the owner or part of the team. And he was like talking about the metaverse and all that as well. And like, because he wants to have a metaverse overlay on his island as well and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, I told him Decentraland and Sandbox are like graveyards. Like no one's in the actual games either. And that's why I was like, metaverse wise, like I'm just waiting to see, like, because I think we're so early. Like veveverse, I think could challenge these other metaverses if they do it right. Again, like they've had 5 years to build, right, compared to veve's verse, which will be like very, very new.
But like
Yeah.
to me, like it's up for grabs. I honestly think there's not one real winner, and that's why as well Meta's trying to create one, but they're coming up with these crazy rules, like 40% creator fees for your NFTs. Like they've got all those rules they're trying to do. So I'm like, this metaverse game is up for grabs. To me, there's no real leading person really. Sandbox and Decentraland on paper, but in terms of like people actually using it, like not even at
the
all.
interest. Yeah, and that's what I feel like. That's what people don't see either. You know, like Sandbox took like 100 devs, and it took them like 5 years or whatever, like X amount of years. But if you know, and if veve was by themselves trying to build a veveverse, it would probably take them 10 years because they're so small. But this is why I think that that another company, like, they wouldn't have advertised it last year if there were like 30 devs were working on it. It would be another company that probably built it, and it's probably a professional company that's got, you know, 5 times the amount of devs as you know, Sandbox or Decentraland. So I am, I'm very, very bullish. Oh, it's Satoshi is in
Vanuatu, that's right.
And sold out on E2. Okay, wow.
Oh, okay. Do you know if Drew, do you know if the Satoshi team bought like their own island on E2, so they claim their own land on there, or does it show who owns it or not on E2, or is it just says it's like bought and you don't know who the owner is?
Well, it was bought, and then they were selling out like tile by tile. I think I might actually have one on there. Like everyone was so nice to me. There was like, hey, I have this project and I'll give you a tile. Just give me 1 penny and I'll give it to you. Like, okay.
Really?
Yeah, because I just content creator like, hey, I want you. I was like, okay, sure. So I have tiles like everywhere.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I do you get offers like that? I'm like, hey, I have this thing, you know, let me give you something.
It's more like for me it's more to leverage my TikTok. They're like, I get like probably 20 to 80 messages depending on like a bull or bear run of projects saying, hey, can we pay you to talk about us on your TikTok? And
God, yeah, I get that as well.
Yeah, and I can easily say like I've turned down at least like 6 figures worth of deals in like 6 months, just because like I know like I meet the founders if it's interesting to me, and I've only spoken about like 2 or 3 because I met the founders and like they have conviction, they actually want to build, but like 99% of them that I get are like they're just trying to. I just don't believe they're trying to actually do something good, so I don't talk about them, and they offer good money as well, but like it's worth my reputation? No, like I'm in here for the long term. I want to like can only talk about projects I'm really interested in. So yeah, I get those type of messages.
When we had when Earth 2 like just came out and there was all these other things like After Earth and Next Earth and Meta, I got messages from all of them, and
really?
The only one that was actually going to give actual money, I think, was Next Earth. It was like a couple $1,000s, but it like the rest of them was like, we'll give you like $5,000 of in-game credit. I was like, you're coming to me want me to use my platform, talk about it? You're not even gonna freaking pay me?
Yeah,
get the fudge out of here. Blah.
Yeah.
The only other outside of Brock McBlockchain with Fish, and is City of Gold. I had their CEO on. They seem pretty cool. Like that thing seems pretty legit. I'd probably get land on there or something. Me and Kyle Willson have had scheduling conflicts, but he's working for Illuvium now, and a lot of veve people are in Illuvium. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see. And like Dan Lee's on. He's not working for him, but he's gonna get some of the land sale. Poor Man Printing goes live with them all the time. So
with Illuvium.
Yeah. So
really?
So I'm pretty
interesting.
I think he's live right now, like talking about. I think he's just talking about it.
Yeah. So are they? So does Illuvium like approach them? Because I used to listen to all these guys like literally every single day for like a whole year, and then just the last like 3 months, I've just been so busy with my stuff that I haven't even had time to consume content. Like at the end of the day, but that's good for them because like I've seen them come from like literally 0 followers because I was just trying to find veve content, and then that's awesome. So have they been approached by Immutable and they're like kind of working for them as a content creator, or?
I don't know exactly what Kyle's doing for him. I don't know if I don't know what he does. I don't know if he's like a dev or if maybe he's like a media manager. veve just posted on their LinkedIn a couple weeks ago. It's probably hired by now. They were looking for a social media manager, and one of the things that I loved about that, they said, hey, the qualifications that you need to be, you know, well versed in like TikTok and whatever, you know, Marvel but they also said anime. So I asked David about
True.
so I asked David about that. It's like, we have a very strong following in Japan, and you're going to need to know about it. And I was like, ah.
That's so sick because I've been waiting for anime NFTs for so long. And again, it's not confirmed yet, but like that's something I would buy so many Naruto's first appearance. Oh,
When you have the Japanese Discord that they just made, and Dan Crothers is following Funimation and Crunchyroll,
yeah,
I'm pretty
I
sure
saw
we're
that.
gonna get it.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's all there. Like, that's what people don't realize is that to create a platform where there's such high demand for this long, like NBA Top Shops when it didn't even last this long, there's like veve are quite constantly selling out,
Yeah.
over and over again. That to be able to do that and pull that off long term, like they're kind of the only platform that's done it consecutively, raising this much money and doing it the right way. Their strategy, their marketing, everything's working. So it's a no-brainer for other brands to kind of come on here and do it rather than try to risk. Because again, a lot of people don't realize a lot of these big companies are scared of Web3 or don't even know how to approach the NFT space. So it's kind of like a safe first step is by going through like something that's been done before.
Yeah, this is why I love this is why I love that they don't spend any money on marketing, because they don't need to. They're already selling out everything. There's no demand problem at all. And if there ever was, say like, oh hey, the last 5 drops didn't sell out, they could click on marketing whenever they wanted. And I think a lot of games like Pokemon Go really set the way. Like a lot of these games that are selling their whatever they're selling, they only sell them once. So that reoccurring purchases for like more bag space for more Pokeballs, or buying more Pokeballs in general. I think a lot of these games are all going to be NFTs in the future. Like they're all going to be selling their stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We're just so early.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the biggest thing. We're just super, super early. So we just got to just wait. I just want to fast forward 5 to 10 years time so we can kind of see where society is with all this.
I just want to fast forward 2 years time to where Omi's like 50 cents and I have like $55 million. It'd be great.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, so we've been going about 2 hours. What is any one thing you want to tell people, like who's listening right now or listening in the future? Love it.
Just with NFTs or just in general with
I guess yeah, both.
Yeah, I mean, it's just to kind of do the research. I did a post in my Discord the other day because like a lot of people are new and they're freaking out because they're bought in on a lot of these NFTs or crypto at the peak. I was like, when you're in these times, like when you do the research and you're more convicted and you understand who's adopting blockchain, what brands are taking it on, Nike, Adidas, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Walmart's doing a metaverse, Apple's doing this, like it's all blockchain orientated, that there's like a future for this. It's just that the markets that you're looking at are all emotionally tied to the most risk adverse, the risky assets in the world right now. NFT is the most risky assets, then the newest. So obviously emotion wise, like imagine the stock market back in the 1800s when that first came out, and in the concept of a stock market had never happened before. Of course, the prices would have done the same thing because they're like, what are these stocks? So how do they have value? Do you know what I mean? So that's how I'm huge on research, huge on having conviction after you've done the research, and once you've done and after that, it's just like, look, it's just a phase, and this is just part of being early. And it's just, we're also very privileged to be this early in something and have that opportunity to be this early. And we always say, we look back and say, we wish we did invested in Uber, wish we invested in Airbnb. This is what it would have been like. The prices would have been like this. And we're here now. Just the perspective wise, we just never had that perspective. You just see it when it's skyrocketed and you see the use case actually being used. Then you're like, okay, it made sense. Now I want to invest in it. But just have some perspective, do the research, and this whole thing will be a lot more easier. Because I know a lot of people are like stressed out, like losing their minds. I was like that at the beginning, but have that perspective and do the research is all I can say. And you'll have way more confidence in this space and in your investments. Or if you haven't bought yet, then looking to buy something in this space as well.
Agreed. As it's like when people were saying like, oh, why do you need a car that costs money to run? My horse runs on grass and that's free. And not knowing that, X amount of years later, horses would be relatively obsolete for that.
Exactly that. It's all about perspective. That's what it is. And humans are very emotional. So once you kind of realize that, it'll be a lot easier, this journey.
Yeah, so strange. Like the rest of the animal kingdom does not have that. Maybe dogs and like cats, but they don't really have that much emotion. It's like you see it's like a monkey get his arm ripped off by an alligator. It's like
looking at it,
he just lives his life. It's nuts.
Exactly that. Yeah, we need to be more like that.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a great conversation. Totally go follow NFT for noobs on the TikTok. Thank you so much for coming on. We'll keep in touch.
Yeah, sure.
And
This is
let me know
awesome.
when you do a YouTube channel. I'll totally come on.
Sure, I definitely want to host people like this as well. So I'll definitely keep in contact with you. I love doing stuff like this, like just chatting with people that are more been in the space for a long time and just like going back and forth with our conversation, because this is what helped me when I first started. So I know this is valuable for the beginners to have perspective and to talk to different people. So I'm sure they'd really appreciate what you're doing as well.
100%. Well, thank you so much. Everyone say bye-bye to Dashi. Bye-bye, Dashi. All right.
All right. Thanks, bro. Nice to meet you as well.